You are listening live to Michigan football coverage on WCBN Sports. Welcome inside Notre Dame Stadium here in a balmy South Bend, Indiana on a nice September evening, early September. Jeremy Parks alongside Alex Drain with the Michigan football pregame show as we are set for a heck of a matchup tonight between the number 12 Notre Dame Fighting Irish and the number 14 Michigan Wolverines. Drain, the offseason almost over, just minutes away from kickoff, but looking towards this one, Michigan's defense is going to come in as one of the favorite defenses in the country among analysts, a top 5 defense in the nation last year in just about every category. Notre Dame, though, bringing in a vaunted offensive line. What are you looking for in that battle in the trenches for the Notre Dame offense and the Michigan defense tonight? Well, it's two separate matchups. It's the interior of the offensive line versus the interior of the defensive line, which seems like it could feature an advantage with Notre Dame versus the outside, which seems like it would favor Michigan. Notre Dame returns a very talented interior. They slid Tommy Kramer from right tackle to right guard, along with Sam Mustipher and Alex Bars. Both were All-American preseason selections. They're up against a pair of relatively inexperienced players in Aubrey Solomon and Michael Dwumfor getting his first start, and Solomon broke into the lineup a little bit last year, whereas on the outside, Hainsey and Eichenberg for Notre Dame, close to first-time starters up against perhaps the best defensive end combo in the country, Chase Winovich and Rashawn Gary. Those will be the matchups that will decide the game in the trenches, the tackles versus the ends, and the defensive tackle, nose tackle against the interior, the guards and the centers. And that offensive line trying to protect the Notre Dame starting quarterback tonight, Brandon Wimbush, who had a lot of action last season, appeared in just about every game, but in several games was pulled out in the middle in favor of the backup quarterback, Ian Book. How do you see that playing out behind center for Notre Dame tonight? Well, it seems like that could be the case yet again for the Fighting Irish. We go back to the Citrus Bowl in particular. Brandon Wimbush was yanked early in that game. Ian Book came in, led the team to victory. There was a lot of Irish fans who hoped Book would seize the starting job in the offseason. Didn't happen, and it appears that we could end up seeing both guys. I'm not sure if it'll be a rotation or if it's just if one struggles, the other one will come in. Wimbush, obviously a very good runner, but completed only 49.5% of his passes a year ago, whereas Ian Book, slightly higher completion percentage, but he struggled with turnovers, and he's not nearly the same weapon on the ground. So they have their upsides and their downsides, and obviously neither was able to impress in camp enough to seize the job, so that can't bode too well for Notre Dame. And it'll be interesting to see as well, as you mentioned, Wimbush, the more mobile quarterback. Notre Dame behind the quarterback tonight, going to be missing a little bit at the running back position. That is the early report, at least, with Notre Dame star running back Dexter Williams, who will dress. But Drain, what's the word on Dexter and whether or not he'll see the sidelines or the field tonight? So Dexter Williams had some issues a year ago, or in the offseason rather, with, we're not exactly sure, but he's probably suspended. It's been a very fishy situation going on with what's happening with Dexter Williams. No one really knows. It seems like he'll dress, but most people I talk to seem to convince he won't play, and that really hurts them because he had a big 20-yard run in that Citrus Bowl late in that game. They lose their key rusher from a year ago, Josh Adams. We're hoping somebody with some more experience like Dexter Williams could step in, and instead Tony Jones, I don't think they're too satisfied with him as the top running back. Jafar Armstrong, other guys we could see if Williams is in fact suspended for this one. So there's been a lot made about the Michigan offensive side of the ball, especially under center for the Wolverines. We're going to skip the Shea Patterson talk. I feel like that'll play itself out as the broadcast goes. But one area I want to focus on with the Michigan offense with you is that wide receiving core. Again, Tariq Black, a star wide receiver for the Wolverines who suffered a foot injury early last season that sidelined him for the duration of the season, is out again after breaking his foot last week. So tell the folks at home, Drain, what they're looking at the receiver core for Michigan tonight. Who can they look for Patterson to get the ball out to? Well, the receiver core is a little different than the pass catchers because of how Jim Harbaugh's system works. He's very heavy on tight ends. So of all the catches that might be out there, a good segment of them will probably be from the tight ends. Very talented Sean McCune, Zach Gentry. They are well-known. Nick Eubanks, who played a bit last year, he could mix in as well. At wide receiver, a little more questionable. Donovan Peoples-Jones 5-star guy, very, very talented, extremely athletic. Struggled with route running a bit last year, but even when he got open, Michigan just never had a quarterback who could find him consistently if he got past the safety. The big question for Michigan's wide receivers is Nico Collins. He's going to be stepping in for Tariq Black. He only played a little bit last season. They had to rip the red shirt off him when Black got hurt. He had 3 catches a year ago for just 27 yards, but he's a huge dude, listed at 6'4", pushing 6'5", a real red zone weapon like Zach Gentry at 6'8", so 2 really tall red zone targets. And then, of course, in the slot, Michigan hopes to see Grant Perry a bit more. He had a really good start to last season, kind of trailed off, but he's a route artisan. He knows how to get open. He runs really crisp routes. Also, Oliver Martin from Iowa, redshirt freshman, he could see the field. So there's some options, but still a little unproven outside of the very stellar tight end.
The only receiver in tonight's game who had a touchdown reception last season is Grant Perry. Nobody else in the starting lineup at receiver tonight for Michigan had a touchdown catch last season. Looking forward, though, to the offensive line that's going to have to protect Shea Patterson and company behind the ball. What do you see with the Michigan offensive line? It is probably the biggest question mark for the Wolverines heading into this night. Well,
I think the question I'm asking is how much of a difference did Ed Warner make in the offseason? He was a key hire. Jim Harbaugh jettisoned a longtime assistant in Ken Drevno, was really frustrated with the pass protection issues. He brought in Ed Warner, one of the best offensive line coaches in all of college football. He will make an impact over the years, no question, but can he make that impact immediately here tonight, particularly with that interior? A lot of talent, a lot of experience, but they really struggled picking up any kind of blitz formation, stunts, twist, whatever you want to call them. They really struggled in pass protection. If those guys are better, we will know a difference Warner has made. The tackles, that's more talent and inexperience than anything else, but if they can just fix the interior of that line, we'll know Warner has made a big difference. Michigan will look to run the ball quite a bit. And so how the interior, Ben Bredesen, Cesar Ruiz, and Mike Nwenu, how they hold up against the Notre Dame defensive line, Jerry Tillery in particular, in moving guys, creating running lanes, protecting Patterson, those are huge questions in the matchup here tonight.
Jerry Tillery, again, the front force on that defensive line for Notre Dame, had 4.5 sacks last season to lead that defensive effort. A team, again, as you said, that got all the way to the Citrus Bowl and beat LSU 21-7. They finished the season ranked 11th in the country in the final AP poll. And that is going to be about it for the matchups for tonight. Drain, I'm going to ask you, final score prediction for the game.
I think Michigan's going to win, but I think it's going to be close. I predicted something online the other day. I don't remember what it was, but I'm thinking low. It was a score. It was low. That's what I remember. Here's what I think. At the end of the day, it's about matchups, unit versus unit. The strongest unit on the field is Michigan's defense. And if you're picking one singular unit, that's the unit you got to go with. So I'm thinking low scoring. If Michigan protects the ball, doesn't turn it over, lets their defense do the work, they'll win the game.
Your weather for tonight's game, currently 83 degrees in the Notre Dame area, 68% humidity. The sun, as of right now, is just peeking up over the back of the press box across from us. Should be down very shortly. Down on the field it is. Nice and shady, so the sun shouldn't be too big of a factor as we head into this one. But anything else that you want to cover, Drain, here on the pregame?
It's great to have the rivalry back. You know, in the 7 years that Michigan suffered through the 10 years of Rich Rodriguez and Brady Hoke, perhaps the only bright spot was a lot of really entertaining games between Michigan and Notre Dame. And they remember the Tate Forcier comeback. Of course, the 2011 first Under the Lights
Under the Lights one, yep.
Denard Robinson to Roy Roundtree with 2 seconds left, the 2013 game. And for Irish fans, the most recent meeting, the 31-0 shutout. So there's been some different matchups, a lot of entertainment. Two campuses only about 3 hours apart. A lot of Michigan fans here today. So it's just a great rivalry. Two of the most historic, iconic programs, largest fan bases in the country. It's great to have the rivalry back. The 43rd all-time meeting between Michigan and Notre Dame.
Michigan teaching Notre Dame how to play football back in, what was that, 1898 roughly?
I think it was 87.
87.
We were looking at that earlier.
Somewhere around there. A small note on how the rivalry is shaping up off the field. Michigan's band normally performs a pregame show on the road. They were denied the right to the field before the game. As they played Michigan's opening songs, the Victors, and the normal fanfare, Notre Dame pumped their PA system as loud as they could. The Michigan marching band stuck all the way in the upper left corner of the stadium from our view here. So a note to watch out for as well.
Already a tad petty, I guess.
And that's going to do it for the post-game, or the pregame show, I should say. Not to post-game yet. We've got a long way to go, but both teams have just trotted out onto the field. They're going to clear the way, get their final warm-ups in. And with that, I'm going to hand it off to your play-by-play man for the first half, Daniel Thompson. He'll stay alongside Alex Drain. I'll see you at halftime. We've got a good one on our hands. Again, number 12, Notre Dame, number 14, Michigan, on deck on WCBN Sports and the Michigan Student Football Radio Network. Here's Daniel Thompson.
While he's putting on his headset, I'll just let everybody know Michigan wearing the very crisp all-white road uniforms. Notre Dame wearing the classic blue jersey, gold pants, and of course the iconic gold dome helmets. Daniel, how are you doing?
Excellent, ready for some football. It's been a long off season and we are moments away from kickoff.
Yep.
As captains from both sides now are meeting at midfield, we should any moment now have the results of the opening coin toss, who's going to kick, which way they're going to defend. Looks like for the Wolverines, we have Karan Higdon, Tyree Cannell, Ben Bredesen, and Devin Bush as captains.
They were just voted last week. Chase Winovich said he was a little upset he didn't get voted as a captain, but he's a real team player, so.
Understandable, and that team player quality is part of the reason why. You could see him in that captain role, but nonetheless, these Wolverines are returning a lot of guys who played a lot of time. As we now hear the result of the coin toss, Notre Dame has won the toss. They can
won the toss.
Okay.
Michigan deferred. Now Notre Dame's choosing that.
All right. Thanks for catching that for me, Alex. Yeah. So we will have the Wolverines deferring. All right. So that wraps it up. Notre Dame will receive the opening kick.
Well, you got to think if you're Michigan. Your defense is your strongest unit. Put them on the field first.
For sure, maybe a bit backward from the typical line of belief of wanting to receive the ball and come out to set the tempo early. This is really believed by almost every pundit out there to be a real defensive battle, and you can anticipate that really both teams think they're going to win this with their defense. So Michigan not only now has the advantage of getting the ball to start the second half, but they can really set the tempo with their defense. They're going to be after Notre Dame quarterback Brandon Wimbush, as has been discussed a lot in the days winding up to this game. Wimbush is a much bigger threat on the ground.
Yeah, we're going to get to see him early on tonight. I think Michigan will want to test his arm, see if his accuracy has improved at all. I think they'll be very comfortable isolating cornerbacks against the Notre Dame wide receivers.
Indeed, Wimbush completed just a shade under half of his passes last season. The Irish certainly are going to be hoping that he can perform better in the air this year. They won 10 games last year, finished the season on a 10-3 record, so certainly whatever Wimbush was doing, it worked well enough, but they're going to be hoping from a bit stronger of a quarterbacking performance, at least aerially. He, in fact, threw for 16 touchdowns last year and ran for 14, making him as much of a scoring threat through the air and on the ground.
Yeah, his biggest asset, no question, is on the ground. That's why he's in the lineup. If he didn't have that as an asset, he wouldn't be seeing the field.
And now we are moments away from kickoff. You can, folks at home, you can probably hear the noise from the PA, excitement in the air, fans clapping. We should have a good one under the way. A game most are calling the biggest game in college football this opening week.
The green out. Notre Dame fans draped in green, shamrock green.
Indeed, Notre Dame bringing that shamrock color to life. A few splotches of yellow here and there, but Notre Dame with great attendance. As Michigan sends the opening kickoff away, looks like that will be into the shallow end zone. Notre Dame thinks about it, but will kneel. Will be their ball at the 25 to start. So, Drain, we've talked about Brandon Wimbush a lot to the beginning of this game. How do you think the Wolverines can best prepare to stop him on this opening drive and really establish the fact that they're not going to let the ball be moved easily on them in this game?
It's a Don Brown defense. You're going to see a lot of blitzing. And again, Michigan feels comfortable against Notre Dame's passing attack. They'll be using the linebackers, Hudson, Bush, sending him home trying to get back there and attack the quarterback.
The Wolverines returning 9 of 11 starters on defense. We see Michael Dwumfor coming in at the nose tackle position. A new starter, one of the few new starters on this team. Notre Dame with 3 wide, a fullback and a halfback in the backfield. Hands it off right down the middle. Tony Jones, the ball carrier, is stuffed, tackled for a loss. A whole host of Wolverines got into the backfield. It looks like Jafar Armstrong, my bad, was the ball carrier there. He gets the start. It was widely believed Tony Jones would get it entering this game. Jafar Armstrong is a converted wide receiver to the running back position. Similar formation now. 3 wide. Wimbush under duress. Fires went down the field, and that contested ball falls incomplete.
Yeah, he had a step on him for a quick second, the wide receiver, number 83 for Notre Dame. Let's see what the
83, Chase Claypool.
Claypool, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, he had a step there for a second, but then a good close by Lavert Hill.
The whole stadium kind of held their breath there for a second, but ultimately fell incomplete, setting up a 3rd and long here for the Fighting Irish. 2 out wide to the left, their right respectively. Michigan threatening some blitz. Brings him through. Chase Winovich nearly makes a tackle, but the pass is completed. And the Notre Dame receiver is able to get by the first down out of bounds. That's going to be a first down for the Irish. That looks like Jafar Armstrong with the reception. Winovich knocked. My bad. Chase Claypool again targeted. Now the Irish are back in 3 wide formation. Another deep pass. There's a flag thrown, but for the time being, that pass is complete to Notre Dame wide receiver Miles Boykin. We have a flag on the play. We'll see what the call is here. And it looks like it's going to be defensive pass interference as the teams move down the field. Ball at the Michigan 31-yard line for the time being. And that's going to be, the officials call it, declined pass interference against the Wolverines. 1st and 10 from the 31 for the Irish. 3 to Wimbush's right, 1 to his left, and now they flip the formation across the field. Snap is back, play action. Wimbush looking for a man. Finds a man toward the end zone, and that he overshot Chase Claypool on that one. Ball sails incomplete, not really catchable for anyone there. It will be 2nd and 10 now for the Irish.
He had 2 guys in the area, and it fell in between both of them. Not really sure which one exactly it was supposed to be headed to. Notre Dame playing with a lot of pace right now, hurrying it up.
And nearly every snap is into shotgun position, just as this one is. Wimbush snaps again. Keeps it for himself, but is immediately tackled by Wolverines' Tyree Cannell.
There's a flag down. Looks like it might be a horse collar.
Flag on the play indeed. We're going to get the call here momentarily.
Or perhaps a hold.
Early indications. Face mask against the Wolverines. That will give the Irish a fresh set of downs. The Irish are playing with a very fast tempo and meeting little resistance so far. What are your initial thoughts off of this quick start for the Irish?
Well, right now Michigan making a few too many mistakes. Guys are getting open, and here comes Ian Book onto the field.
Interesting, the Irish backup quarterback now steps in with 1st and 10 from the Wolverines' 13-yard line. Might be a red zone formation change here. Cook now hands it off. He has a man breaking all the tackles into the end zone. Touchdown, Jafar Armstrong. The sophomore who was playing wide receiver a year ago has a big opening drive and gets the Irish on the board early. 6-0 Irish. Really didn't have to do too much there on that run. He had great downfield blocking. Didn't meet much resistance on his way to the end zone. Not going to get too many more 13-yard rushing touchdowns easier than that.
Well, that was a real savvy play call there to put Ian Book into the game and then run a spread and shotgun handoff. It looked like they were bringing the passing quarterback in, and then all of a sudden hand it off right up the middle.
Seemed to catch the Wolverines off guard as Justin Yoon comes in for the extra point attempt. Yoon's kick is up and good, sails through the uprights with no issues. That dots the I and finalizes the score is 7-0 for the Irish. 13:35 still to play in the first quarter.
Well, Michigan's defense was supposed to be the best unit on the field, but right there didn't look too much like it. The first 2 snaps certainly did. and then they sent everybody home to try to get Wimbush. They hit him hard, but he still got the pass away. They pick up the first down, and then really attacking the quarterbacks down the field multiple times with Wimbush in the game. They went hard after the corners.
Indeed, only those first 2 snaps really went according to the Wolverines script, and the ensuing third down was the only one the Irish faced. It was 3rd and 11. The Wolverines looked like they had the Irish where they wanted them, and then from that point on, it was all Irish. Not really a single negative play for the Irish following that third down conversion beside a Brandon Wimbush pass that sailed incomplete. Wolverines now going to have to answer big with it on their ensuing drive.
Interesting that Brian Kelly, a lot of questions about Brandon Wimbush's arm. They are not afraid to have him pass. Not afraid at all. He came right out and was gunning it.
Indeed, a very aggressive drive there by the Wolverines, as now Tyler Newsom, the kickoff specialist for the Irish, is ready to kick this back. Ambry Thomas, the Wolverines kickoff return specialist, awaiting the return. The kick is underway, and that's a bit short. It's going to sail out of bounds, and that's going to give the Wolverines a break they might need here early. Short field coming up for the Wolverine offense.
Yeah, that was a total shank. Way to the left, and not deep at all. It bounced out of bounds before it even got past the 10-yard. And the new rule in college football, of course, is that if you fair catch it inside your own 25, you just get it on the 25. I mean, more than anything, you can't be making mistakes.
Indeed, the job has never been easier for kickoff specialists, and they set Wolverines up to the 35 for their first drive. We see Shea Patterson come out in a Wolverine uniform for the first time ever. Wolverines wearing all white with those classic winged helmets. Karan Higdon to his left, Donovan Peoples-Jones to the right, and 3 wide to the left. The crowd is deafening here as Patterson gets the snap underway, hands it off to Higdon, who makes a man miss and is able to drag a man with him all the way up to the 43-yard line, establishing a 2nd and 2. That's the start the Wolverines were looking for on offense.
Higdon's a tenacious runner, and he's capable of bouncing off tackles as he did there to fight for extra yards.
Tavon Coney had to drag him down by the ankle to finish that one off. Patterson now ready to take his second snap as a Wolverine, hands it off to Higdon again. Not as much room there. He dove toward the first down marker. We'll see what the call is here. Looking off the spot, that should be a first down, although the referee has picked it up, respotted it now. It's about 3rd and maybe an inch, if that at all. Still a wide formation here. 3 to the left, 1 out wide, Donovan Peoples-Jones, and now Karan Higdon, the lone man in the backfield alongside Shea Patterson for 3rd and an inch. Patterson takes a snap to Higdon again. He has room and is able to muster a 4-yard gain, exactly what the Wolverines needed. So what do you think of the play calling so far? Just 3 runs for Higdon as Asmar Bilal makes the tackle.
Well, I will say the offseason has brought a lot of changes. Last year, almost always under center, and in this drive, 3rd and inches in the shotgun.
Very bizarre. We saw a couple of those jumbo max sets with maybe 9 men on the line.
And in the old days, that'd be 2 tight ends and Khalid Hill up the middle.
For sure, but now similar formation, 3 to the left, Higdon to Shea Patterson's left in the backfield. Still awaiting his first pass as a Wolverine. Play action is able to find Nico Collins for a 6-7 yard gain. He was able to stay on his feet for a bit while the tackler dragged him. Julian Love, an experienced cornerback on that tackle. And that's going to be about a 7-yard gain, setting up 2nd and 3 here from the Irish 42-yard line.
We talked a bit about how the first throw for Patterson might end up being a little bubble screen, and it was indeed.
Great prediction right there. Now Karan Higdon to his right and 3 wide receivers out to the right with 1 tight end on the left. Carignan goes to the left on the weak side and has to fight to get back any yardage. That might be a tackle for a loss or no gain. Jalen Elliott, the backup safety on the tackle. Looks like that's going to be no gain. 3rd and 2. We'll see what comes up here.
In the shotgun again.
Yep, every snap in the shotgun so far. 2 receivers to Patterson's right and Karan Higdon, 1 to the left, Nico Collins. Patterson awaiting the snap, takes it, hands it to Karan Higdon, who is met at the line. That's going to be 4th down. And what do you think the Wolverines are going to do here? It's 4th and short.
Decision time for Jim Harbaugh, and it looks like they're going to punt.
Yep, punt team comes onto the field. Will Hart is going to be the punter today. Brad Robbins suffered an injury in the past week, and that's going to put Will Hart, who started the year as the punter, with the duty of punting Notre Dame's return man, Chris Finke, who's standing at his own 8-yard line. As Will Hart ready to take his first punt on the season. It's up, looks to be a good one, going toward the sideline inside the 10. And wow, that is a fantastic punt. The Wolverines have really done their defense a favor here. Will Hart pinning the Irish back to their own 4-yard line, as the Wolverine was the only man back there behind the 5, easily corralling that one. So what does the Wolverine defense need to change here to prevent the Irish from scoring here with 96 yards behind them to play defense on?
Well, I mean, you got to stop the run first off. That's the most important thing. They got gashed right up the middle on that touchdown. Now you got them backed up to their own 4-yard line. You need to slam the door and hold them down. This is going to be a field position battle. Even if they scored 7 early, it's going to be a field position battle. Right now, you've got it on your side. And I will say, we talked a lot about the punting all offseason and who the punter was going to be. That was a pretty darn good punt there from Will Hart.
Indeed, Will Hart, who lost the starting punting job during the season last year through some rough outings, gets the job back, maybe due to injury. We don't really know who would have taken that spot had Brad Robbins not gotten hurt, but Will Hart with a good start to the season. And the Irish offense really brought a lot of surprises. Jafar Armstrong, a man who was maybe 5th on the running back depth chart last year, gets a lot of carries, and the Wolverines were not afraid at all to throw. Only one designed run for Wimbush, and that was the only time he carried the ball. Not at all what we might have anticipated going into this game. What changes do you think the Wolverines will make here to avoid a repeat of that first drive?
I don't think you have to make all that many changes. I think you've got a good unit out there. It's a talented unit. It's a proven unit. It was number 10 in defense in S&P Plus a year ago. Trust your guys. Roll with the game plan. No reason to abandon it at this point in the game. I just want to slow down and say that in terms of what we expected to see versus what we've seen so far, it's been quite a shocker. You know, a good drive from Notre Dame's offense, followed by a Michigan Harbaugh team lining up in the shotgun on 3rd and inches.
And there's been one surprise starter here for the Wolverines. Noah Thurbush got a lot of snaps on that last drive. He's out on the field again. He got some playing time last year, but was thought to be knocked really off the depth chart by Josh Ross and Devin Gill. Thurbush is now in the game.
Well, they use him more as a traditional linebacker.
And maybe that's going to be in response to some of these Notre Dame changes, as Wimbush takes a direct snap. That was a designed run that went for no more than 2 yards, as Brian Monet makes a tackle right around the 5-yard line.
Well, I was about to mention Brian Monet because he really comes in on these types of situations. Obvious running downs. He's not a pass rusher, but he's a big dude and he takes up space. He hogs the gaps. We'll see him out here quite a bit tonight, you have to think.
Looks to be 2nd and 8 with 2 wide receivers wide to Wimbush's left. Armstrong takes the carry, and he is met by a bunch of tacklers. Tackle for maybe half a yard loss there. The ball will stay right around the 5-yard line.
Crucial down upcoming here. 3rd and long from their own 5-yard line. Can Michigan get off the field, give their offense great field position?
Michigan has been winning field position so far. Not that that's really affected the score yet, but they really could be set up with fantastic field position following a stop here. 3rd and 9. Wimbush with a running back to his right in the backfield and 2 wide on both sides of the offensive line. Looks like a passing down here for sure. Wimbush has a man deep, and that pass is caught for a big completion, and that might be a targeting call at the end of that. That could tack on 15 more yards potentially, as the Notre Dame receiver caught the ball at the 33-yard line. And Michigan cannot buy a stop to save their lives here. It's back-to-back 3rd downs picked up on the first series of the game, as Alize Mack, the tight end, comes up with the completion. And targeting is the call against the Wolverines' Josh Metellus. He certainly was a staple for them last year. That would be a big loss if he were to have to sit time out for targeting.
The very interesting thing about this is Notre Dame knows the one advantage it has on a Michigan secondary that's very talented. The one advantage it has is size. Alize Mack, who just made that catch, 6'5". Miles Boykin, 6'4". Some of these other receivers, 6'2", 6'6". I mean, you go down the list, they have huge size. and they're willing to use it. I mean, right in that play, it was a throw. It was just a jump ball. They said, look, if we throw low, it's going to get batted away. But we put it up in the air, let our guys go and get it.
Notre Dame has a lot of very tall receivers and tight ends, and right now it looks like Josh Metellus will be exiting the game. That targeting call should hold up, and Jamarick Woods will likely come in to replace him. Michigan is very deep at cornerback. We might be seeing some of those backup cornerbacks coming in. Casey Hughes is a name who transferred from Utah to the Wolverines. Started 11 games for the Utes last season. As we now have Jamarick Woods, I believe, has come in replacement for Josh Metellus, whose night is done. And it will now be 1st and 10 for the Irish. However, the call has not yet become official, but judging by the Wolverines' substitution, it's next to official. We also have Brandon Watson in the game right now.
They continue to review this. Not sure what they're waiting on from what we've been told. We don't have a great angle.
Interestingly, it looks like Lavert Hill has been bumped back to safety, and Brandon Watson has come in on the left side.
Well, that's using your strength. Cornerback depth is your strength. Brandon Watson was a very good corner a year ago. Hill's also a very good corner. Shift him around, but again, size will continue to be an issue. How Mike Zordich, the cornerbacks coach, is able to deal with this size issue. Well, and there's the problem right there. He was on Furbush.
Indeed, Furbush maybe can physically match up with Alize. However, a bit of a speed mismatch. Metellus is gone. That's going to advance the ball. And the Irish will now start from their own 45-yard line. Brad Hawkins has entered the game at safety now, so that maybe the Wolverines have tracked back from that initial substitution.
He had a big camp. They trust him. They think he's made a big jump between his freshman and sophomore year. We'll see if that is the case.
1st and 10 from the 46. 4 wide. Jafar Armstrong. Play action. No, he takes the snap and is hit hard by Devin Bush. Knocked down for a 2-yard gain.
Michigan needs to slam the door here. You cannot give up points on consecutive drives.
Indeed, in a game with two such strong defenses, it would be quite devastating to be down 2 scores this early in the first quarter.
Oh boy, and Hudson ran in helmet to helmet against his own guy.
And now we have 2 receivers wide to Wimbush's right. Armstrong again in the backfield. And 1 to the left with a tight end sitting right behind his left tackle. Tight end in motion.
Josh Uche was the one.
As Wimbush fires for a short completion, Devin Bush completes the tackle for maybe a 1-yard gain. That ball going to Jafar Armstrong, who has really gotten a lot of yardage under him already. Armstrong already has 14 yards rushing, as well as 2 receiving right there.
They're using him like Ohio State used to use Curtis Samuel.
Indeed. Now the Wolverines 0 for 2 on 3rd and long situations right now. Do they have a stop in them? 2 wide to Wimbush's left, 1 to the right. Armstrong again in the backfield. Wimbush drops back. Furbush in there early. He breaks free. He's able to run. Will he get there? 3 Wolverines collapsing in on him. They chase him out of bounds for narrowly getting the first down. Wolverines cannot get off the field.
So that's an issue that hurt Michigan quite a bit last season. It popped up against Brian Lewerke in the Michigan State game, and it popped up again here today. Chase Winovich and Furbush both way overran. They were bull rushing the passer, and Wimbush escaped.
Wimbush now in the shotgun. A referee just tripped, but the play will go on. Wimbush, play action. Now he's looking deep. Has a man downfield. He's double coverage, though. That might be an interception. Contested ball. They're rolling touchdown. That ball seemed to just roll out of Jamarick Woods' hands. That's going to be a touchdown for the Irish. A near 50-yard bomb. It's going to go down as a 48-yard pass, but Wimbush threw from nearly his own 50-yard line, and that's going to be a touchdown for Chris Finke.
Well, the perfect positioning on that play by the Michigan secondary, not the perfect execution.
Far from it. It looked like the double team was going to be enough to prevent a touchdown there. It looked like the Wolverines were in better position to get the interception as Justin Yu winds up for the extra point here. 13-0 currently, trying to tack on one more Kick is up with no delay. 14-0 Irish, very early. 7:09 to play in this first quarter.
You know what game this reminds me of? The Penn State game from last year.
Certainly, the Wolverines were down 14-0 early in that one.
Night game, and Michigan came in. It was the only bad defensive game a year ago, and they got blitzed right out of the gate.
And as fantastic as the Wolverines were on defense last year, they were supposed to be even better this year. Rough start. As you can see, Brad Hawkins really had his hands on the ball.
He got dunked on.
Really, that's a pretty strong analogy.
I mean, he had the perfect positioning. Finke's not even one of their tall guys. He's only 5'10", but he went up there and just grabbed it right out of his arms.
Indeed, and that was really a point of discussion that maybe wasn't brought up quite enough in the pregame, and just getting ready for this game for 4 months is the Irish have some really tall, physically talented receivers. Are the short, quick, really athletic Wolverines backs going to be able to guard them? And right now, even a shorter guy like Chris Fink is able to torch the Wolverines, as Haskins had the ball in the palm of his left hand and got ripped out by Fink. And that's a 7-point swing right there.
It really is. I mean, he had it played perfectly. The one thing I will say is he was backpedaling. He did not have the lift to get up for that ball. Whereas Finke was coming from behind, he had the perfect angle to jump up and snag that one.
And Tyree Cannell was about a step away from being able to cause some serious disruption on that pass. Could have possibly deflected it and prevented the touchdown. Ultimately, none of that is going to show in the stat book, because that's a 42-yard touchdown completion for Brandon Wembush. Might have been 50 yards from where he was standing, right at the intersection of the end and the 50-yard line.
Well, Notre Dame very clearly said, everyone says that we can't throw the ball. We're coming out and we're throwing it.
Brandon Wimbush has had a career night throwing all offseason. People dogged on his ability to throw. He got benched in the Outback Bowl in favor of the more sure passer, Ian Cook. Cook was actually on the field for the first Irish touchdown, not that he had too much to do with that beside handing it off. Wimbush is having a fantastic game so far, though. Only ran twice.
I think that his throws have been pretty good, but the extension from the receivers, whether it's jumping or laying out, has been phenomenal. They've been as big of a hand in this as anything you can say about Wimbush.
For sure. Wimbush is known to trust his really tall, physically gifted receivers, and that's really made the difference. A lot of jump balls, as you've heard me say quite a few times throughout this first quarter. A lot of contested balls, and they've every single time has either fallen incomplete or gone the Irish's way. As we now have Notre Dame getting back for the kick. Newsom hoping to do a lot better than his initial starting kick. Ambry Thomas still back to receive. Looks a lot better this time. That's headed toward the end zone. Thomas receives at his 2, has to bring it out now. Has some space, is able to get to the 30, the 35. A flag is down, though, as Thomas is pushed out of bounds. We'll see what this is about, but he ended up crashing out of bounds right by his Wolverine teammates who all hugged him.
It's in the classic area of a hold.
That's what the preliminary signals would indicate. Looks like this is coming back. 2 flags on the play, the referees announce.
With the new rule, I just think you should fair catch it and take it to the 25.
And that seemed to be the smart decision for Thomas. For a second there, it looked like he might have been able to go all the way to the end zone as he broke free along the sideline. But there were a couple of Notre Dame special teams players there who were able to force him out.
Well, I'd like to see a replay of where the hold was, because it didn't... Oh.
During return, holding over 28, single team. After the play, personal foul, laid in out of bounds. Number 39.
So they got Notre Dame for a late hit out of bounds on Thomas. The hold for Michigan.
So those penalties do not offset. That's actually going to result in 5 free yards for the Wolverines.
Yeah, you go 10 back from the hold and then 15 up for the personal foul. This is a huge drive. I mean, I'm not mincing my words when I say this could be the game right here.
It absolutely could, and the Irish keep on making the small errors on the kicking game that result in the Wolverines having great field position. I mean, it should have been a battle of field position, but right now that's completely not affected the game. As Patterson now under center with 2 men wide to his right and Karan Higdon in the backfield. No Chris Evans so far today. Sends Peoples-Jones in motion, who has the ball. Peoples-Jones rushes for maybe 4 yards, we'll call that. That's going to be Jalen Elliott on the tackle, who's seen a lot of...
7.
And yeah, that's just a misread by me. That's a 7-yard gain.
Not a bad first play, a little jet sweep from the right side.
First MC set so far today, 5 wide, including 2 tight ends and Karan Higdon, as Patterson stands alone in the backfield for the first time as a Wolverine.
Michigan testing the tackles.
Takes the snap, has a man, Donovan Peoples-Jones short, nearly shook a tackle, but it's good enough for the first down. That was Julian Love on the tackle. Had he been able to shake that, he might have been gone for a touchdown with his speed. Nonetheless, I believe that makes Patterson 2 for 2 on the day for 12 yards. It'll be interesting to see if the Wolverines test the Irish through the air more, especially with the success the Irish have had themselves.
It's definitely a gutsy lineup with only 5 blockers, and you're really trusting your tackles, but they made sure to get Patterson to get it out quick.
Now Higdon rejoins Patterson in the backfield to his right. 3 wide receivers wide. Collins and Jones among them. Evans receives the play action, and it goes toward Peoples-Jones, quickly becoming Patterson's favorite target. That's about a 6-yard gain, setting up 2nd and 4.
Well, no matter how this game goes, Peoples-Jones may see quite a bit more catches this year based on just these first early minutes.
Indeed, in fact, the only Wolverine to be targeted so far by Patterson.
No, Collins had a catch.
Yeah, good correction right there. So 2 of the 3 passes have gone his way. Chris Evans now in the game as they play a tight set here, 2 out wide, but pretty narrow, and 2 tight ends into the game. Evans alone in the backfield as Patterson is under center. McCune in motion, takes a handoff twice, and now is looking for a man, has Collins deep, and he's going to overthrow him by about 5 yards. Yeah, not much doing on that one.
He was open to the inside, and Patterson's throw was to the outside. Even if that was accurate in terms of distance, it wasn't going to be accurate in terms of where the ball it needed to be.
Good read there, Drain. That's a double error on Patterson right there, setting up the first 3rd and long as Oliver Martin has entered the game. Patterson now with Karan Higdon to his right, 3rd and 4, the longest 3rd down the Wolverines have seen so far, but they haven't picked theirs up. The Irish picking up a ton of 3rd and longs. 3 wide. This could be the game. It's a bit early, but Patterson surveys, finds a man. That's Gentry open, 2 yards beyond the first down marker. What a calm and collected play by Patterson's first passing attempt on 3rd down.
That little play needs to be Michigan's security blanket this year. Just get Gentry open, 2nd level, hit him.
And we haven't seen too many passes, but I will say that the protection has been pretty good for Patterson so far.
They've been focused on getting the ball out early.
Very true, as we now have Karan Higdon to Patterson's right, 3 wide to the left, and Donovan Peoples-Jones by himself to the right. Patterson waiting for the snap. Still hasn't called for it yet. Takes it. Surveys, has a shallow bubble. Oliver Martin takes it and runs for about 6 yards. That's going to be 3rd and maybe 3. 2nd and 3, my bad.
Does Michigan have a team of Golden Tates or something? I mean, every play is what the Lions run to Tate. I mean, just quick screens, jet sweeps. I mean, the 1 deep shot to Collins outside of that. Get the ball out.
Patterson in shotgun, takes the handoff, rolling himself, has a man down for about 10 yards. That will be a first down for the Wolverines, as that is Oliver Martin, I believe, having a big day so far. Grant Perry, rather, good call. As Patterson rolls out, finds his man.
Yep. That's a good play, using his mobility, a luxury they didn't really have with Peters and Spade a year ago.
Higdon to the left, 2 wide on the left, and Nico Collins by himself on the right. Takes the snap, hands it off directly to Higdon. Haven't seen a run in a while. He's stuffed about 4 yards downfield.
Well, that's a big difference between a year ago and now, is that Michigan is really being passed first on this drive, not run first.
As the redshirt senior Drew Tranquil makes the play, the Wolverines now are at the Irish 25-yard line, presumably already in field goal range, but they really should not be looking for only 3 right now.
Touchdown would be huge.
Patterson by himself in the backfield as 5 are lined up wide, 3 to his left, 2 to his right. Waiting to call the snap, a lot more patient than Winbush has been. Drops back, there's pressure though, fires it just in time, but that sails harmlessly. As that was actually nearly intercepted, that ball looked like it had a lot more velocity on it leaving his arm, but it kind of sailed, and McCune had to fight for that one as it ball's incomplete, setting up 3rd and 6. We saw him complete a pass on 3rd and medium earlier this drive. We'll see what the Wolverines draw up here.
You know, we talked about communication issues. That was just a total blown protection by Juwan Bushell-Beatty. I mean, he's lined up next to an end and doesn't block him. He's got no help to his right. That cannot happen.
Patterson did not have a chance on that one. Karan Higdon to the right, 3 to the left, and Peoples-Jones also out wide to the right. The stadium is rocking right now. Patterson attempts a hard count, takes a snap, surveys, doesn't have anyone. He's going to be sacked for a big loss here. That's a 17-yard loss. Back to his own 42, and the Wolverines will likely have to punt here. That is a devastating sack right there.
Can't take a sack there.
And that's Khalid Kareem back there for the sack. It's going to go down for a 16-yard loss. Ball now on the Wolverines 41, and that might be a game changer right there.
Loss of 17.
That was coming from the left side with Runyon and Bredesen. I'd have to see a full replay to get an idea of exactly who blew that one.
And part of the issue is that Bushell-Beatty let his man into the backfield as well, so Patterson had nowhere to run for escape. Will Hart had a good first punt. Sails it back, looks to be more of the same, although this man might not be able to get down there deep enough, and it bounces about 2 yards deep into the end zone. Not quite the punt he had on the first try. Notre Dame will start now with their medium field position for the day, but that really has not been a factor, as they've been systematically marching down the field every drive.
You're interested in spreading the ball out and trying to pass, but at the same time, it just feels like they didn't utilize the run game enough there. You have a 2nd and 4 situation. Just interesting choice of plays. I mean, you go 2nd and 4, you have the quarterback all alone with only 5 blockers. Last year, I mean, they were so worried about shielding the tackles. They were using 2 tight ends on every play. In this one, I mean, they're not shielding the tackles at all. They're leaving them on an island, and it's not going well so far. Michigan has moved the ball with, decent success so far. Not good enough.
For sure, the Wolverines have moved the ball well enough to at least put some points on the board. Had the defense played more how they were anticipated to, these performances might have been fine bearing that sack. I feel almost as if we jinxed the offensive line a bit. We had just praised the fact that they had done well enough, a lot of quick dink and dunk passes to start off the game, but right there they really struggled, and the Wolverines are looking bad, down 14-0.
Well, see, half of this game I think has gone probably according to plan. I think that Michigan's offenses look fine and about what I would have expected. It's that the defense has been not anything like we thought we were going to see.
Indeed, plenty of prognosticators thought that the winner might not even be at 14 points by the time this game is done. There is 2 minutes and 23 seconds remaining in the first quarter alone, and the Irish have showed no signs of slowing down. If the Wolverines don't make the necessary adjustments, this game could get ugly. As both teams still huddled along their own 30, around the 30-yard line. The Wolverines certainly are going to want to take this TV timeout and use it to their advantage. Going to have to find something that they can make work. We've seen perhaps more different, a wider assortment of players than we anticipated at the start of the game coming in on defense for the Wolverines. And Jafar Armstrong has really had himself a night.
He's been good.
It was a big talking point that Notre Dame was down the top 3 running backs on their depth chart last season. They have, not to mention, 2 top 10 picks on the offensive line, and it does not look like their running game has suffered one bit.
They've used him in creative ways, and I think that's been a good sign for their offense as a whole. But right now, it's the pass yards down the field.
Both teams take the field now. We have 2 wide for the Irish, and presumably Armstrong to Wimbush's right. Wimbush taking a bit more time. He's been asking for the ball quickly on his snaps. He now moves under center with Armstrong directly behind him. Now backs back up into the shotgun. Armstrong still right behind him. Michigan brings a lot of pressure. Armstrong moving to his right is met by Devin Bush for a tackle for a loss. That should be 2nd and 12 upcoming.
As a whole, Michigan's run defense has been pretty darn good. Wimbush had the scramble and then the 8-yard touchdown. Outside of that, Michigan's run defense has been really strong.
Correction, Brad Hawkins, who gave up the touchdown on the previous drive, comes up from the safety position to make a great tackle for 3-yard loss. 2nd and 13 for the Irish. As Wimbush again under center, fires for a bubble screen, but that's too low, and his man catches it while falling. That's going to result in a 1-yard loss. 3rd and 14.
That's one of those plays that when you realize where you are on the field, you're behind the sticks, just drop it, and here we go again.
3rd and long. This is, I believe, the 4th 3rd and long the Irish have faced so far tonight, and every single time they get a huge chunk of yardage on that 3rd down.
We'll see if they go straight out and attack. It looks like they will.
5 wide here. Wimbush is likely going to throw here, but he's been just fine throwing the ball tonight. Drops back. There's already pressure. He escapes, steps up, but fires just too wide, and the Wolverines are going to get off the field for the first time tonight. With 1:16 remaining, that's exactly the drive the Wolverines needed to stay in this game.
Robert Hainsey, number 72, got toasted on the left side. Rashawn Gary blew right by him, and it forced Wimbush to make a decision. He stepped up, a guy decently open, but it wasn't, a great opportunity.
No, and just a bit too far ahead of his man.
And good pass defense there.
I believe that was Cole Kmet who was the intended target. But finally, the Wolverines showing the defense they needed. But Wimbush has had a great game so far. It's for the first time we get to become acquainted with Notre Dame's punter. That's a bad punt, though. Bounces at the 47 and rolls toward the Irish. That's going to be Notre Dame ball at the 40-yard line. A special teams player tried to recover that, but it bounced off his fingers. That doesn't matter, though. He touched it right around the 41 or the 40. Great field position for the Irish, but sounds like a broken record. That hasn't meant anything so far today.
Yeah, Michigan, they've won the field position battle. So far, they haven't won the actual battle, but you couldn't get points last time. You got to get them here.
Yeah, the window of opportunity might be slamming shut here for the Irish as the first quarter begins to transition into the second. They have not been able to buy any points so far. They could have taken a field goal on the last drive if it had not been for a big sack. At the time, that would have felt really bad to kick a field goal there. Now, maybe not so much, given that the Wolverines are already on the fringe of field goal position. Of course, we saw Quinn Nordine in the opener last year has a bit of range to his kicks. Even if the Wolverines fail to pick up a first down, if they can move the ball forward, that we might see Nordine tonight. But once again, a field goal is nice, but that's not the goal for the Wolverines on this drive, who are trailing 14-0 with 1:02 to play in the first.
So we've talked about Patterson getting the ball out quick. One thing he needs to learn is that applies to every situation. Even if you're about to get sacked, just throw it away. He's a guy that extends plays on his legs, but if linemen are staring you down, you just need to throw it away. That was a 17-yard loss. They could have gotten 3 points on that last drive. Get the ball out no matter what.
Indeed, Patterson now starting his 3rd drive as the Wolverine signal caller. Perhaps as this game continues, maybe he'll be more acquainted with his Wolverine teammates and might be able to figure things out a bit better. Although really, no huge issues with his play. He threw one ball away that could have easily been intercepted. That was a bit risky. But he's 6 for 8, 45 yards. Not great in the yards per attempt department, but by no means terrible. Not at all, especially with the kind of plays the Wolverines have been calling. A lot of bubble screens, a lot of slants. It's been good enough to move the ball in most cases, but the drives keep stalling right before the Wolverines are able to enter at least field goal range.
I would like to see some more yards on the ground.
For sure, Higdon's looked good.
They abandoned that last drive. No reason to do so. You've got good field position.
And Chris Evans yet to get a carry. He's been in on a couple of drives.
Any points on this drive would be nice, but a touchdown would be big. That gets you back into the game in the early second quarter.
And the Wolverine offense, they might look a bit more calm on this drive. That's just a guess, but given that their defense finally showed up, got that 3 and out, and really drove the Irish a lot far backward.
Well, you spend the whole offseason waiting for this day, getting psyched up, and you come out here, a ruckus atmosphere, perhaps a little overexcited. Nerves start to go down, you start to calm down, acclimate yourself to the environment.
First Ben Mason sighting of the day. He comes in an I formation. Karan Higdon, the deep back, as Patterson's under center with 2 wide receivers to his left, I believe Collins and DPJ. Gives the run to Higdon. He had a gap, but he didn't quite find it. Maybe misread that there. He had about 20 yards if he chose to go a little bit left of the center. Nonetheless, picks up 3.
Yeah, that was beautifully blocked. Ben Bredesen pulled around. I will say that did start to slip through, did the Irish tackler.
Indeed, Tavon Coney finally got through at the last minute. Now Higdon by himself in the backfield. Patterson under center. Handed off again. He makes no one-man miss in the backfield, escapes, and is able to pick up a first down for the Wolverines. Called out a 7-yard gain. 1st and 10 for the Wolverines at the Notre Dame 29-yard line.
That right there is why he has a chance to be all Big Ten first team. I mean, creating opportunities on the ground. Michigan hurrying up.
Khalid Kareem came running into the backfield, and he made a miss. Now I formation again. Play action. Patterson has time, surveys, throws into a tight window, and Zach Gentry gets a modest gain there. That was a bit risky for 3 yards to set up 2nd and 7 and end the first quarter with the Wolverines at the Irish 26-yard line. What did you see out of Patterson in that first quarter?
I've seen some pretty good things from him. You know, he had one inaccurate pass down the field to Nico Collins, and the sack, it's not really his fault. He needs to be a bit smarter. But as a whole, he's been accurate. And to a Michigan passing attack that really couldn't do anything a year ago, couldn't hit the windows even when they opened, to see him fitting passes through there with Zach Gentry on that last play, it's been impressive.
He's shown no lack of confidence, been willing to really fit that last pass into a tight window. He definitely believes in himself. I don't think he's been phased, and the offensive line has looked a lot better on this possession, gave him some time. As we're about to flip field here, that's been the side, the Wolverines now going toward the side where all the scoring has been done so far this game. Not sure if that has anything to do with it, but
might be the magic end.
Indeed, and as the teams are about to flip field here, we're going to try something here and flip up play-by-play duties. So Drain will be giving you the play-by-play calls on this drive. Meanwhile, I will take over at color commentator. So Alex, I'll give you a shot right here in your play-by-play debut for Michigan football.
Well, thank you. We should point out, though, that Karan Higdon had a really important blitz pickup on that last throw. It came hard off the edge, and there was a lot of talk in the offseason about being a running back, not just on the ground, about helping the passer, picking up rushers, and he did a good job there. So give him credit for that.
For sure, and I'm interested to see how they're going to continue to involve Chris Evans. They've used him in motion a couple times to kind of tease him the bit quicker and lighter back, maybe to dash through their, threaten to dash through the Notre Dame backfield quickly, but so far he's only ever really had blocking or decoy duties. Intriguing to see how they use him this year, because last year was really 3 men splitting the job with Ty Isaac gone. Everyone anticipated it's going to be Karan Higdon, Chris Evans rather, both getting a lot of time, and I think people thought that Karan Higdon would get more time, but not this much so far. He's been in for nearly every snap.
We've got a nice little thing going on the field. Notre Dame in the 30-year anniversary of their 1988 national title, their most recent national title, honoring the players who won that crown down in the end zone. As the teams flip field, Notre Dame breaks the huddle and gets their defense set up. Michigan still huddling up. 2nd and 7 on the Notre Dame 26 will be the situation coming out of the huddle.
Indeed, interesting to see what packages they bring here. It looks like Higdon will be the back again.
There's a lot of talk about 1A, 1B with Higdon and Evans. It seems like Higdon's number 1.
For sure.
Patterson's going to line up under center. Michigan giving some tight end help. 2 wideouts to the right, and Higdon in the backfield. Patterson brings him in motion. He's going to play action and just give it to Higdon up the middle. He continues to fight for extra yards, getting dragged by his toes, and picks up about 4 or 5. It'll be 3rd and short upcoming. They're going to give him 4, so it'll be 3rd and 3 from the Notre Dame 22 upcoming.
And Cesar Ruiz lost his helmet on the last play. So we're going to have a change here at center as Steven Spinellis comes in.
Spinellis is the guy on the interior. He's the backup for all 3 interior positions.
So that'll be interesting to see if that causes any issue here, but Spinellis does seem to have a lot of confidence, the coaching staff does.
3rd and 3 from the 22. Patterson steps backwards, Higdon to his right. 2 tight ends on the right side, 2 wide receivers to the left. Slaps his hands together, and he wants it. Drops back, looks to throw. He's got Nico Collins on a slant, complete at the 15-yard line. Gets tossed around like a rag doll. And the whistles blow. 1st and 10 from about the 15-yard line.
Another quick decision there by Shea Patterson. He never looked at anyone else. Maybe a bit of a no-no typically for quarterbacks. Stared down Nico Collins the whole time, but he must have liked the coverage he saw and knew he could get that to Collins. He was able to jump up and catch it right on the numbers.
What's the size there? Notre Dame's receivers have been using their size. Nico Collins is a big boy. 6'4", used his frame there. Patterson goes under center. They continue to do really large sets at the line. A lot of tight ends right now. Higdon in the backfield, 2 wide receivers. They're going to do a quick play action, looking for McCune, going to find him underneath. He's at the 10, pushed out at about the 7-yard line, 7.5, for a pickup of about 8 yards, and Michigan now knocking on the door.
Interesting here by the Wolverines. They had a lot of success running early, and I guess they decided we've really established the run. We can get the Notre Dame defense to bite on play action, and so far it's worked.
Good ball security from McCune. He was bobbling it. Patterson now under center, and he's going to give it off to Higdon up the middle. He'll get enough for the first down, it appears. They're going to look at the spot.
And of course, the Wolverines have already been in the red zone in this drive. However, a real bugaboo for them last season was punching it in for the touchdown. 1st and goal from the 5. They're not going to have a whole lot of room to work with here, but they haven't really been using much of the field on offense.
Early in the year, it was a problem a year ago. Notre Dame running some subs on. 3 players coming on, 2 coming off. Another one already left. 1st and goal from the 5-yard line for Michigan, trailing 14-0, looking to get back in this ball game. 12:54 remaining in the second quarter. Patterson under center, I formation, and they're going to give it off at the 3 to the 2 goes Higdon, and he falls for a gain of about 2.5.
Good start for the Wolverines there. They cut 60% of the distance, but those are going to be 2 really hard-fought yards here. Interesting to see what they do. They keep on lining DPJ out wide.
Tavon Coney was the tackler there. Notre Dame running guys on another huge I formation. Patterson is in trouble. He's going to get hit. Going to go down. Sacked at the 10. Another coverage breakdown as they tried to do a play action to the tight end.
You mentioned it earlier. Patterson needs to know when he needs to throw it away. It's a tremendous difference between 3rd and goal from the 2-yard line and 3rd and goal from the 10. And that's going to be so much harder for the Wolverines with the Irish really only having to defend the goal line.
We got an injury now, number 99, Jerry Tillery. That's a big loss for Notre Dame if he does have to come off. Yeah, that was not as much on Patterson as the first one. He was met right away, but again, as we saw in the replay, though, his first instinct continues to be to scramble. And I think that perhaps the first instinct should be to throw it away.
Indeed, that might be perhaps a 7-point swing right now in his decision on whether or not to throw it away. Had he thrown away that 3rd down look earlier, that could be 14-3 right now, and perhaps we'd be on the doorstep of the difference between a field goal and a touchdown, although you can play the what-if game all day if you want. As Tillery now is getting up with some assistance. It looks like he's walking off under his own power, though, but with a noticeable limp. And he's a really big part of that Notre Dame defensive line.
Yeah, but it's not really helpful right now because now they're on the 10. If it were 3rd and goal from the 2 and Tillery was coming off, you'd just try to hammer it right down the middle. But in this situation, perhaps, probably have to throw it here.
Indeed, and 3rd and goal from the 10 is probably the hardest 10 yards to earn ever in football. The Irish have a pretty easy job here on defense. It'll be interesting to see how the Wolverines play it. 3 points would be appreciated, but 7 really gets them back in the game. Where they are right now, to kick a field goal, that would really give the defense no margin for error, and that defense is not playing with a ton of confidence at this moment in time.
Well, you'd hope they've gotten their confidence restored since they did get off the field on that last possession. But a touchdown here is it's symbolically big if Michigan can get a touchdown. Halves the deficit, gives you the momentum, and puts your defense back on the field excited and ready to go.
And if you know how to reliably score a touchdown from 3rd and 10 at the goal, please let us know, because that is one of the great mysteries of football. This is a very low percentage touchdown situation. We'll see what the Wolverines bring. It'll likely be a 4 or 5 wide set, I'd imagine.
I don't know. I think they are starting to get worried about the pass protection. It's the big boys out there. Nico Collins lining up. And look at Chris Evans as a wide receiver lined up on the far right side. They've also got Gentry out there. Him and Collins will be the red zone targets. 3rd and goal from the 10. 11:50 to go here in the second quarter. Patterson in the shotgun. Notre Dame only showing 4. Patterson wants the snap. Ruiz looks back and delivers it. Patterson waits. He throws. And it is almost caught, but incomplete. Gentry had it on his hands and might have been broken up. Tough to tell if it was a drop. It seems like a PBU. We'll look.
By number 11, Alohi Gilman.
Alohi Gilman got his hand in there.
4th down.
Yeah, that looks like a good play.
Yeah, it looks like Gentry had a hand on it, and then Gilman just drags his hands down until the ball sails out.
That throw was perhaps a bit behind. Allowed Gilman to get in there. If he leads Gentry, might have it. So here's Quinn Nordine. This is a big kick. With 11:35 remaining. Snap good, hold good. The kick is up, and it is good. So Michigan gets on the board, 14-3. Not quite back in it, but they've started to get some confidence.
And that score certainly is going to be important. That could definitely come back to make the difference in the game. But right now the Wolverines have to feel a bit jaded here. They're not being horribly outgained in total yardage. When the defense has looked good, they've looked good. But the offense really has to feel bad here. They've had more than a 3-point performance so far in this game.
I think the one question for the play calling so far is that you obviously would like to pass the ball more this season. But are they passing it too much? Because they've had 2 drives ended by passes in running situations. There was it 2nd and goal from the 3, and 2nd and 4, 3rd and 4 on the previous drive where they decided to throw. When last year that would have been a run, and you have sacks.
Not to mention Notre Dame has showed no fear from bringing the blitz. You would figure that establishing the run more might help Notre Dame back off that a bit. Those questions should be answered, and for the Wolverines, hopefully sooner rather than later.
Another big defensive drive coming up for Michigan, but first they got to do the kickoff. Jake Moody, the walk-on freshman, boots it away. It'll be caught from just inside the end zone for a quick knee, and Notre Dame will start from the 25.
And the defense has had some very long fields to defend, but still given 14 points. It'll be interesting to see if maybe they can carry some of that momentum from that last really outstanding drive. I believe the Irish had -4 yards on the drive.
That was what Michigan's used to be doing. Don Brown's a real good defensive coordinator. He needs to show his mettle, make some adjustments, and continue to be aggressive. Here's Josh Ross has come onto the field. Michigan's been rotating their linebackers. Furbush, Uche, Gill, and now Ross on the field. Motioning a man in motion is Wimbush, and he's going to keep it himself, going to try to hit the edge. He's going to get around Rashawn Gary and get out of bounds after a gain of about 5 out to the 30-yard line.
We haven't seen too many designed runs out of them from the Irish, and that really has helped keep the Michigan defense honest. Helps them get a lot of green space in front of him to pick up a healthy gain.
Yeah, Wimbush might have had a huge gain against a lot of players, but Rashawn Gary, freaky athletic, able to catch up and force him out at the 31 after a gain of 6. Irish continuing to play with that pace, but now they slow it down as Wimbush looks to the sideline for the calls. Man comes in motion, and now he's going to keep it himself once again, going to try to cut around tacklers before he is quickly brought down after a gain of about 3 there by Josh Ross, the linebacker. And we've talked a lot about 3rd and longs. Now it's 3rd and short, 3rd and 2 upcoming for Notre Dame.
Yeah, strangely, I don't think the Wolverines have seen a 3rd and short on defense so far. We'll see what they have in store for the Irish.
Wimbush lines up in the shotgun once more. He has 4 wideouts and 5 men at the line, and now he's going to wait and look for signs. Tony Jones is the running back. He steps forward, says something to the line. Jones moves over to his left. 2 wideouts on both sides, and now he waits again. He continues to check. 3 on the play clock. 2-1. Brian Kelly's going to have to burn a timeout.
And really the first error we've seen from the Irish beside kickoffs.
Yeah. So they will take a timeout at 10:14 remaining in the second quarter. Notre Dame 14, Michigan 3. You're listening to Michigan football on WCBN Sports.
And one thing that I think has been really interesting about this drive is that the Irish came out starting that game so quickly, so fast. Winbush was getting up to the line of scrimmage and snapping the ball within 5 seconds nearly every time. And now on this drive, they've taken it really slow, taking their time, took too much time on that last possession, on the last snap, would-be snap.
The signals perhaps gotten a little mixed up, or maybe the play calls aren't as fresh. Obviously, I think Notre Dame had a very clear game plan for this one. They wanted to come out and attack. The cornerbacks used the size. Since then, slowed down a little bit. Your opening bag of tricks begins to wear out.
As now both teams take the field again on a really critical 3rd and 3. If the defense can maybe see if they can give their offense yet another short field.
3rd and short, they switch it up though. 3 wideouts on one side, one comes in motion. Wimbush looks, he waits, and he's going to keep it himself. Goes over to the side. Does he have the room? And he does. He gets the first down, lowers the shoulder. Tyree Cannell on the tackle.
Indeed, Tyree Cannell was able to meet him before the first down marker, but Wimbush can bring so much speed on such a big body.
Wimbush, yeah, he's a bigger 6'2", 222 versus 5'11", 215. And he bulldozes over Cannell to barely get the first down, a gain of about 3 on the play. Irish from the 36. And 1st and 10. Wimbush is going to run, and he options it out to the side. They've got room on the side, and driven out was Tony Jones. Good option pitch decision by Wimbush.
And we haven't seen the Irish even attempt to pass so far on this drive, and that really hasn't been an issue. They've really utilized Wimbush's running game for the first time this game.
Really good block on Josh Ross there. Wasn't able to see which Irish player it was, but he got chopped down and it left Jones all alone with Winovich. Wimbush taps his wrist as he sets up for a 1st and 10 from the Notre Dame 47. Jones to his right, 3 wide receivers, and he's going to give it off to Jones right up the gut. Outside of the 1 run for the touchdown, nothing up the gut so far. A gain of about 2 or 3 on that one to midfield.
The Irish have played a very wide spread offense so far today, and it's paid dividends to this point. Not testing the Michigan interior line, which has been pretty strong.
So 2nd and 7, or about 8, depending on how you want to call it. Wimbush in the shotgun, and he's going to give it off to Tony Jones up the middle. Set up another 3rd and short. It'll be 3rd and a full 3 this time from the 45-yard line of Michigan.
I really doubt we're going to see that first pass on this drive yet.
I don't know. They could be tricky here. We'll see what they decide to dial up. This is a key play right now.
And it looks like they're going to play 5 wide.
Jones had an equipment issue. They had to run him off the field. Now they have to reset for the play. 12 on the play clock. Wimbush in the gun. He drops back. He's looking for somebody, and some contact, and there's going to be a flag thrown.
Both guys tripped themselves up. I wasn't really able. The pass was out after they had both fallen. We'll see what they call here. Someone tripped someone. It looks like it's going to be against the Wolverines.
Yeah, that'll be Josh Ross. He just tackles him with his helmet, too.
Don't know what he is thinking there. I mean, it looked like if I didn't show you the player but showed you just the defenseman, you would think that the offensive man had to have had the ball the way Josh Ross tackled him.
And that's really an unfortunate turn of events for Michigan because they were in the backfield there. Wimbush was in trouble. He was really just kind of throwing it roughly in the area. A bad mistake by the true sophomore, Josh Ross. His first real game action. He played a bit last season, but sharing a starting role this year, and a crucial mistake. They call it holding, and now they quickly going to throw back a little flea flicker on the other side. There is a flag down, weaving his way to the 20.
And while I'll tell you that flag is so far deep in the backfield, there was not a Michigan Wolverine near that. I'd imagine some issue with the formation or a very early hold.
as a legal formation there, as it was a kind of a flea flicker situation. Wimbush ran to his right, and then it fooled Winovich, who was chasing after him, and they threw backwards across the field. But issue with the formation beforehand, a 5-yard penalty backs him up. It'll be 1st and 15 upcoming from the 40-yard line, pushes Notre Dame back. Aubrey Davis, a sophomore, listed as a quarterback for Notre Dame, was the one that caught the pass. Maybe they were intending to do sort of a flea flicker double throw, but he decided to run with it. Anyway, 1st and 15, Notre Dame. Wimbush drops back. He's in trouble, going to escape the pocket. He gets outside to the 35-30, and he's going to get out after a gain of 11. That's a problem we've talked about, keeping contained. They couldn't do it there. Wimbush wily and escapes.
And that's been a consequence of how well really everyone else on the Irish offense has played so far today. The Wolverines can't really afford to place a spy once Wimbush, the much quicker player, was able to get around Dwumfor. He had a lot of green in front of him.
Yeah, Dwumfor started going one way and got fooled. Here goes Wimbush right again. It's a little play-action bubble screen over to the side. He's got a man running free down to the 21-yard line.
At this point, the Wolverines have to be thinking about holding the Irish to a field goal, keeping it a 2-score game, maybe scoring right before halftime, then receiving the ball.
Chris Fink yet again. He had the touchdown earlier. He gets the first down, 1st and 10 from the 20-yard line. Wimbush is going to keep it himself and reverse it across to the left side, going to try to get around the corner, and he's ridden out of bounds. Notre Dame wanted a late hit out of bounds, none coming.
Looks like Wimbush improvised early on that play, saw 3 Wolverines right in front of him, wisely cuts to the left for a small, respectable gain.
Yeah, he was supposed to be going to the right and saw 3 Wolverines there, and Jamerick Woods was the one grabbing him from behind. I think that's a good call. He started tackling him inbounds, and yeah, he dragged him out, but that was Wimbush running that was the reason he got dragged. I formation now for Notre Dame, rare one of those. And they're going to do a toss to the outside. They have numbers trying to juke around the corner, and a terrific tackle there by number 26. It looked like Woods yet again.
And Kalik Hudson, one of the most gifted athletes on the field right now, he blew up that play very early on. Forced the running back Houston Griffith to move to the outside where he met Jamerick Woods early.
Yeah, that Jamerick Woods was left in space, and now David Long is down. Not sure if it's an injury or an equipment situation.
He's snapping his helmet off, so it does seem like he knows he has to be out on this out for the next play. As now the Irish face another 3rd and long for the first time in quite some time.
3rd and 7 from the 17-yard line. 5:45 remaining. Michigan needs to hold them to a field goal here. If you're the Wolverines, hold them to a field goal, and if you can get a touchdown before the half, you're in the game at halftime.
Absolutely. The Wolverines need to remember they're receiving that opening kickoff.
Yep.
That can really keep them in the game here. But they cannot let this become more than a 2-score game. I don't know what percentage of games that become a 2-score lead that end up being won by the team that went down by more than 2 scores, but I can tell you it is not very high.
Again, we have to point out just how tremendous of a tackle that was by Jamerick Woods. The Irish ran that direction because they knew they had numbers. He was the only guy with a chance to make that tackle, and he got there. Wrapped him up for really no gain. So setting up this crucial situation as Long as exiting the field, both huddles starting to break.
And we have a bit of a video board malfunction. There was a message from 2 higher-ups at both respective universities about sending aid to Puerto Rico, and then all of a sudden it cuts off for some other message, and now they're just showing the cheerleaders. Looks like something went wrong there. Kind of caught the attention of everyone in the stadium.
In response to these stories, we're challenging...
And now we're back to the regularly scheduled programming of the message about helping Puerto Rico with their hurricane relief.
It's a nice joint message, too. We saw Mark Schlissel at the start.
Michigan's public mission calls for our university
followed by representatives of Notre Dame.
contribute to a better society.
Notre Dame's distinctive mission calls us to...
As both teams wait, the Wolverine defense already out on the field. The Irish, rather, all in a huddle around the 25.
Is Notre Dame's president a priest?
culture in
I believe
your
so. I'm familiar with the name Father Ted Hesburgh. He was really big in transforming the university into what it is today, more than a football school.
Gotcha.
So I think it always is a priest.
That's pretty neat. We got into town a little early today. Rolled in around 3:30, walked around the tailgates. A lot of Michigan fans here, and
Celebrate the new year with the
got our credentials headed on up. It's a capacity crowd here tonight. The only empty seats currently are where the Michigan band was, as they make their way down onto the field with 5:52 remaining here in the second quarter. Big play upcoming as both teams setting up. We get an advertisement for the Winter Classic. The hockey game will be played here at Notre Dame, and here we go.
And that's been at Michigan Stadium before, too, a really great tradition that both of these schools can participate in.
Michigan with all 3 timeouts, Notre Dame with 2. Referee's confused about something. Now getting ready to spot the ball. I guess it's getting set up, and here we go. They begin running the clock. 5:50 to go. Wimbush in the shotgun. He's got 4 wideouts and a man to his right. He's got some pressure coming, and he's going to scramble off to the side. Does he have room to get there? It's going to be close. It's going to depend on the spot.
This will be a play of high contention no matter what they call here. Really able to move around a lot, make a few men miss. I think he's out about a yard early. I think he stepped out before he could dive.
Looks like he's short, and Notre Dame's hurrying up. I'm not. Here we go. 4th and inches. They're going to go right away. I think if you're Jim Harbaugh, you have to take your timeout, and he does. That's a really smart decision, because Notre Dame was just going to try to run right up there and jam it over the line.
And once again, Wimbush has such a physical body. He is a quarterback, but he also could play out there really on the field with everyone else. He's just as good of an athlete. 6'2", 222-pound frame. I would not be surprised if they just had him dive right under the center there to try to pick up the yardage.
We're being told now that there is lightning in the distance.
And it was quite visible right before the snap. Really didn't have any time to mention it, but it lit up the sky here in South Bend for a moment.
Not close enough to halt the game, but it is a factor that could come into play.
We're 5.5 out from halftime. That could be a point in which some decision is made about the status of this game. We knew that thunderstorms were absolutely an issue of concern entering this one. But right now, that's not going to distract either team. It's focused on a pivotal 4th and inches here at the nose of the 10-yard line. I feel like everyone on Notre Dame on the Wolverines has to be fearing a Wimbush keeper right now.
Yeah, they line up in a huge set. I formation, everybody at the line. Goal line situation, 4th and inches. Wimbush is just going to try and sneak it, and it looks like he got it.
Once again, lightning fires right before the snap, almost as if it's trying to peek in on the game or something.
We talked about the matchups on the interior in the pregame show, and that was a factor there, those preseason All-American caliber guards and centers for Notre Dame, shoving first-time starters for Michigan backwards.
For sure, they have some really big linemen there. Alex Bars is a player of note, 6'6", 315. He's able to push the highly vaunted Michigan defensive line backward.
So 1st and goal now from the 9-yard line. Wimbush drops back. He's in trouble, gonna get hit, gonna go down.
And Notre Dame might pay dearly for picking up that 4th down now. They are really far deep on 2nd and goal. It's going to be around the 19-yard line or the 20.
That was a sandwich. Chase Winovich and Devin Bush, and I think Rashawn Gary was in the area too. Or looks like the blitzer, Devin Gill.
Loss of 9.
And that really could change this whole game right here as the Irish are moving backward on a goal-to-go situation.
Dropped all the way back to the 18-yard line. 2nd and goal from there. Wimbush in the gun. He's going to roll to the side. They've got it set up as a little tunnel screen. Can he get around the edge? The man with the ball can. He gets shoved out at the 9-yard line or 8-yard line. They get the yards back.
Screen pass to 8, Jafar Armstrong.
Another bolt of lightning.
Armstrong is the one.
He was able to just barely outrun a tackle from Chase Winovich. But
that's a problem Michigan struggled with a year ago, was the screens.
So
a lot of misdirection.
Notre Dame failed to, or the Wolverines rather, failed to pick up the 3rd and long from the goal-to-go situation. Now, will the Irish possibly change the tune of this game by picking that up and really putting the Wolverines in a deep hole?
3rd and goal from the 9. Wimbush drops back. There comes pressure once more. He steps up. He fires. And over the head, out of the back of the end zone. And we got some whistles coming.
Flag down.
Flag comes in late.
This is the kind of timing that you might anticipate it to be a roughing the hitter.
Yep. You know, really a rough call there.
That is a dicey call. Indeed, Wimbush let go of it maybe half a second before.
The angle Winovich was coming from, he could clearly see Wimbush had thrown the ball.
That is true. That's something that's normally not considered by fans when analyzing a roughing the passer call. But that is a game changer.
That's a 5th-year senior. That's a mistake that just cannot happen. And there have been far too many of those.
Wimbush decides to take himself off the field, though. Ian Cook is in.
Ian Book comes on in. He's under center. Going to give it off to the left side. And they've got the men. He gets pushed through the end zone. Touchdown, Notre Dame.
And that was a rather easy one for Jafar Armstrong. He's had a couple of those now to punch it in for a touchdown where he did not meet too much resistance.
He did not. They had the numbers on that side. Blockers set perfectly up. The only guy with a shot was Brad Hawkins, and he was late to get there.
And boy, was there ever pressure on the Wolverines' offense to begin with. They really are going to be desperate for a touchdown here on possibly the last drive of the half.
The touchdown scored with 3 minutes and 55 seconds remaining. The extra point goes right through. So Notre Dame leads 21-3.
And one thing about that score is I would not say it's been a 21-3 outperformance by the Irish so far. They certainly have been a better team. There's no mixing about that.
Opportune mistakes made by Michigan, giving Notre Dame chances. And I think the big thing to take away, for everyone talked about this defense as being potentially vaunted, a jarring lack of discipline and a jarring lack of preparedness and basic football sense. I mean, 2 times on that drive they were going to get off the field with the Ross just tackling a guy, and then Winovich, a veteran leader, an inexplicable mistake.
That's a great point, Alex. It felt like a million years ago that Josh Ross just tackled a player, and of course he tackled the intended receiver. However, Wimbush was struggling to get that ball out in time. I really doubt that would have been anywhere near the intended receiver had he been able to stand up for that whole play.
We'd have to rewatch that play. Do you remember if it was play action or not?
I don't recall.
Because the only explanation I have is that Ross didn't know that he didn't have the ball.
Yeah, that was...
I mean, there's no other scenario where you would just tackle a receiver.
It was truly a bizarre play, and that allows the drive to go on, only for Chase Winovich to then commit a roughing the passer, extending the drive and now making it a 3-score game. I don't know if we have a number for the greatest comeback in Michigan Wolverine history. I recall the biggest comeback in Big House history is, I think, a 19-point comeback against the Badgers in the early 2000s.
Yes. They're going to have to come back from 18 down.
It will be a behemoth of a task facing the Wolverines. The one thing you can say is that they have the ball to start the first half, and they have not been outplayed 21-3 bad. They've been don't get it conflated. The Irish deserve to be winning this game, but they have been much more opportune than the Wolverines.
Well, it's not as a Herculean effort if your offense gets clicking. Because if you scored here, and then you come right out of the break to score again, then you're right back in the game.
Oh, of course, yeah.
A lot easier said than done. But there is a situation here. And there is an opportunity for Michigan. But they need to show more consistency and more finishing ability. And this is where it really hurts to not have scored a touchdown on that preceding drive and to not have a field goal from the drive before that. Too many points left on the field by the offense. And the defense, inability to get off the field, stupid mistakes. So here we go. Notre Dame comes out ready to set up for the kickoff. They line up and boot it away. A high arcing kick going to be taken from the 1 yard line, and Ambry Thomas is going to run it out. He's got some room to run, weaving his way out past the 35 to the 40, 45, 50, 45, 40, 35, 30, 25, 20, 15, 10, 5. He's gone.
And
Ambry Thomas runs it back.
Has there ever been a more needed kickoff return in a Week 1 game than right there for the Wolverines? That could change their season right there. And the Irish might be a little bit concerned now. They have struggled with kickoffs, obviously booting the very first one out of bounds. In the Wolverines' game plan, they don't want to have the Irish have any more kickoffs, but...
You know, I was about ready to make my same should have just taken a knee comment. Because that was from the 2 yard line. You get it from the 25, but... They needed a jolt of energy, and that energy came from Ambry Thomas, a sophomore quarterback from Detroit, Michigan, out of Martin Luther King High School, a cornerback factory in recent years. And now for the extra point, snap is good, hold good, kick up, and it is good. So our score, just like that, Notre Dame 21, Michigan 10. Notre Dame took almost 8 minutes to get that huge 18-point lead. Gone just like that.
Only for the Wolverines to hit the reset button, but the Michigan faithful need to remember that the situation they just reset to was not a favorable one.
They were not able to get off the field, but they have 2 timeouts, does Michigan. Notre Dame also with 2. 3:41 remaining. What the score is at halftime is going to be crucial for the trajectory of this game.
For sure, the offense now faces a smaller task. If they're able to enter the second half only down 2 scores, that's a much simpler task. Score a touchdown on your first drive. You're really back in this thing. But, oh man, I mean, Ambry Thompson, what a great return too. I know one thing that is not discussed often enough is that punt returns are typically a lot more fun than kickoff returns. Kickoff returns are typically a guy goes to the outside and just runs for 70 yards. Ambry Thomas could have gotten tackled 6 or 7 times between the 30-yard line and the 40.
He was weaving his way, and in that little stretch, you know, I was sitting here thinking, well, they're going to get good field position. And he just kept breaking them. And then once he got out to the 50, he was gone. He's got lightning quick speed, and he puts it in the end zone. Michigan down just 11. Opportunity if you can slam the door to get even more points and put yourself back in the ball game before halftime. And the kickoff from Jake Moody, high and arcing. It's going to be a James Fogue specialty taken from the 2 by Notre Dame and tackled at about the 21 or 22 yard line. So, suboptimal field position for the Irish.
And we were complaining, you know, no one's taking that fair catch opportunity, once again passed up by the Irish. But I don't know how you can, you know, I think anyone would want to follow up that kick return with possibly something of their own. Instead, that puts the Irish in a 3-yard deficit. Had they called for the fair catch, they'd be at the 25, now they're at the 22. And Ambry Thomas, his position's a cornerback. I don't think he's had any snaps so far on defense today. But, oh man, the whole defense... The defense must be loving him right now. They're giving them a second opportunity.
So 1st and 10 Irish from the 22-yard line. Wimbush in the gun, running back behind him. 3 wide receivers, still lightning in the distance. And they're going to give it off to the side, cutting through a little hole. And out to about the 30-yard line was Tony Jones, or no, Jafar Armstrong.
And it looks like Devin Bush over-pursued on that play. He was in a good position to meet Armstrong. Okay.
Number 72, Robert Haynes, he got out there and tripped him up a bit. So here we go. And another handoff to the side. That'll be just enough for the first down. No, certainly Notre Dame wants to bleed the clock a bit.
Certainly not going to want to give the Michigan Wolverine offense any time to work with the ball at all.
But Michigan has to show an ability to consistently stop Notre Dame. Even when they thought they got off with those penalties, it was still really grinding possessions. There's been 1 drive where Michigan slammed the door. Outside of that, they've been lucky to be in position to get off the field. Wimbush options a man in motion, and now he'll take the snap, give it off to him, and he's swallowed up very quickly after a gain of 1 or 2. Armstrong yet again, and now Michigan, I believe, is going to be using their timeout.
Wolverines certainly interested in getting back on the board, double dipping before halftime, then even triple dipping with getting the ensuing kickoff.
Yeah.
Worth noting that the rate of lightning strikes appears to be picking up a bit.
And it also 2:31 before halftime. No, we just had a stoppage for an injury. No, now the clock begins to run, so the Irish might just wait. They've been up-tempo so far. Nope, they're not going to. Wimbush is going to hike it, and he's going to throw a little bubble screen, perfectly set up, but well played, and brought down after a few yards of a gain.
That could have been a much bigger game, but Josh Ross gets off his block. It feels like maybe the Irish have kind of got dug really deep in their playbook now, and they're getting a bit more predictable, a little bit less interesting, setting up a 3rd and medium.
Ross with the tackle there. That sets up 3rd down and about 3 or 4. Michigan not using their timeouts. I think they don't want to give the Irish more time if they don't know they're getting off the field.
1:47 and counting left.
3rd and 4. Play clock down to 10. Notre Dame with 2 timeouts. They're just going to take the timeout, I think. Brian Kelly standing right next to the referee. And indeed, he's going to kill it at 1:34.
And we are now looking at potentially the biggest 3rd down of the game. There have been so many opportunities for the Wolverines. Picked it up only once on 3rd down. There have been 3rd and longs, 3rds and shorts. Only 2 stops. One of them resulted in a 4th and inches that was later picked up.
I mean, you just need to ensure that you go down into halftime only down 11.
And this
That's the first order of business. Regardless of getting points back, you just need to ensure you're only down 11 going into half.
Absolutely. That receiving that opening kickoff for the second half is going to be a breath of fresh air for the Wolverine offense, who has not played in quite some time. And one thing that I really doubt that the Irish would go for it on 4th down here, but they really have an offense set up nicely to go for 4th and shorts.
You can't go for 4th down. You're on your own side of the field. You're in command. Boot it deep.
So maybe a unique situation for the Wolverines where if they can get the Irish stopped anywhere short of the sticks, then it will result in a punt because, I mean, normally if I'm Brian Kelly, I am very comfortable.
If you were Michigan in this situation, it's 4th down, you have to go.
Oh, yeah.
You're up 11 late in the first half, and you got the opportunity to pin them deep.
Yeah, a couple of mistakes. I'm not really sure if there was that much on the Notre Dame special teams unit because they looked fine. They had plenty of opportunities to tackle Ambry Thomas. He was just picking up his feet at all the right time, avoiding any shoestring tackles. It was really a thing of beauty from Ambry Thomas.
There might be some angry talking during the week with that kickoff unit because remember, we talked about the opening kickoff, or it was the second kickoff, the first one Notre Dame did that went out of bounds. And then to have that kickoff return touchdown, 2 really bad mistakes. And again, just put it in the back of the end zone. You know, you'd like to poke it and land it on the 2, but it's way easier to just put it through the back of the end zone.
So we've been talking about Michigan's strategy to get back into this game, but let's say Notre Dame picks this up. They're going to go into hurry-up mode. If they can put up a touchdown on the board, that's going to take all the life out of the Wolverines. A field goal will also keep this a 14-point game, 2 touchdowns, of which the Wolverines have failed to score on offense.
This does feel like a crucial crux in the game. 3rd down and 4 yards to go from the Notre Dame 38. The Irish 221 total yards to 85 for the Wolverines, up 11. It feels like the yardage and the points have now started to line up.
For sure. As the Wolverines finally catch their big game-changing moment with the Ambry Thomas return.
3rd down and 4. 3 wideouts. 6 men at the line. Wimbush and then a running back to his right. 3rd and 4. He drops back. Michigan brings pressure. He's going to fire wide open. Complete. Weaving around tacklers and down to the 50. Complete there. Number 83, Chase Claypool.
Injured Wolverine, I believe that's Rashawn Gary. And it appeared that Brandon Wimbush got that ball out at the last moment he had. There were several Wolverines converging on him. Is able to find the open man.
And that's, you know, that's unusual because we talked during the week and before the game about Michigan being comfortable leaving their receivers on, or their corners on an island with the receivers, and that wasn't even the size issue. I mean, David Long just got beat there really cleanly. I mean, that was a wide open catch for Claypool. Wimbush just had to be accurate, and to his credit, he's been pretty accurate tonight. Michigan's blitz has not gotten home nearly as much as it should have. They did sack Notre Dame, and it seemed like they would get off the field at the time. It was 2nd and goal from the 17 when they got that sack, and then were just unable to get off the field. Routinely, mistakes. They've got to find a way to just hold Notre Dame to a field goal here.
And it's the 3rd down pickup here is Notre Dame being 5 of 7. I think that should up to 6 of 8. It's Devin Bush actually who is down. I said Rashawn Gary earlier, but Devin Bush really isn't going to feel much better for the Wolverine faithful. He's able to get up and walk off under his own pressure, though. That's an encouraging sign.
Just got roughed up a bit.
Although now he asks for help getting off. That's a bit disheartening there. Looked like he was getting up under his own command, then kind of hopped in place, decided that he couldn't go off on his own. We'll keep you updated with any more information we hear about that. So Devin Bush, who's really been one of the most heralded players on this Michigan defense, had a fantastic breakout sophomore year last year. Presumably is going to be leaving for the NFL at the end of this season.
And Michigan now down 2 of their 11 starters between Josh Metellus and Devin Bush. Metellus ejected on a bad targeting mistake early in the game. Again, a lot of mistakes for Michigan here defensively, which has been the wrinkle in this one. Notre Dame from midfield. The clock is already running. It's down to 1:15, and Wimbush really taking his time. Not sure how intent they are of getting a touchdown. A field goal would probably do. And Wimbush is going to keep it himself. Going to the outside, going to try to get around the edge. Unable to do so. Terrific tackling there. Driven out of bounds. David Long on the tackle. He had some helpers there. The read option, he takes off. Gary was following him. Brad Hawkins, David Long, all in the area. No gain for Wimbush. 2nd and 10 from the 50. Michigan would love to just hold Notre Dame to no points.
And those were the tackles that the Wolverines failed to make earlier in the game. It looked like Wimbush might have been able to rip off a big gain there, but flip of the script right there.
Wimbush under center. Brings a man in motion, and he's going to drop back to throw. He's got a lot of pressure. He throws, and it is incomplete. Oh, boy, almost intercepted. Diving underneath was Brad Hawkins to try and make an interception as they tried a little slip screen. The linemen let Michigan's attackers get through there, and that's a tremendous play. Tremendous play by the offensive lineman trying to see the number. It looks like 70.
That's Alex Bars, the left guard.
71. He tackles Hawkins as Hawkins is going for the interception.
And Kalik Hudson, I believe, read the snap count there. He jumped before the ball even moved.
So
fantastic
3rd
read.
and 10 from the 50, and now in trouble is Wimbush. He's going downfield into double coverage, and it is incomplete. The crowd wants a flag. When you play in Notre Dame Stadium on the road, you always got to be worried about the PI. Nothing there. Michigan going to get off the field unscathed.
Any home crowd is going to want that call anytime their guy falls over.
Oh, there's a holding on Notre Dame.
And those are both correct calls. If anything, it was the wide receiver, Frinke, himself falling over, trying to dive for the ball. Robert Hainsey tagged with it. I think the Wolverines are going to decline that one. Yep, they do.
They did. And you know, it wasn't as quick as they wanted. Probably doesn't give them time for a 2-minute drill. But they keep Notre Dame off the board. They'll go into halftime at least down 11 as long as they don't make any crucial mistakes here in the last 49 seconds as the punter now coming on for Notre Dame. Trying to see his name.
As he punts a low one, that might pin Michigan back far. Corralled it at the 4, going backward.
Yeah, Donovan Peoples-Jones brought down at about the 3-yard line on the punt by Tyler Newsome.
And if you thought for a second that the Wolverines might be going for the end zone on this drive, they're going to be playing to avoid the safety here, back at their own 2-yard line.
Notre Dame has only 1 timeout. So if you're Michigan, I think you just take 2 knees and head to the halftime. You're going to get the ball to start the half. You're not necessarily a big play offense. Your pass protection's a problem. Just go to half, look to get a touchdown out of the break. That'd be my recommendation.
Oh, for sure. And the feeling on the Notre Dame sideline must be a lot lighter than it was maybe 20 minutes ago when it looked like they were about to be going down 21-3 or maybe a little bit better at the half. Now they're very much still within this game. They have to find a way to not get safety here. That's an entirely possible situation.
It would probably be a sneak, right?
I'd imagine.
Patterson under center, big formation. They're going to hand it off, sneaking to the left side, and for about 3 or so yards, Karan Higdon. Clock now beginning to tick, 30 seconds remaining. If Brian Kelly doesn't use his timeout here, I don't think they're going to run another.
I would be astonished if there was another snap in this half.
Clock, 20 seconds. Kelly sure looks like he isn't using his timeout, and the team is just standing around. So that will just about do it for the first half. Our score, Notre Dame 21, Michigan 10, but this game is not quite over. At 21-3 with 4 minutes to go, it looked like it might be. But Ambry Thomas keeps Michigan in it. Their ability to come back will hinge on a kick return, or on the first drive of the second half.
And you know that Notre Dame is going to be frantically rehearsing their kickoff scenario because they have really struggled so far in the game on their kickoff team. They're going to have to make sure no Ambry Thomases occur again in the second half.
Knocked down, but they're not out. And with that, we just about do it for our first half. We got a halftime show upcoming. Jeremy Parks will be back on the mic with, who we got? Is it Nate Sorensen coming on for the halftime? Indeed it is. So with that, I'm Alex Drain, Daniel Thompson, handing it off. Enjoy the second half.
Welcome inside the booth here at Notre Dame Stadium in South Bend, Indiana. Again, the score at the half here between number 12 Notre Dame and number 14 Michigan, 21-10 in favor of the Fighting Irish. I'm Jeremy Parks alongside Nate Sorensen. Nate, what did you see from Michigan in that up, mostly down first half?
Well, I mean, my biggest question coming into this game was the offense. I wanted to see how this offensive line was going to look with a new offensive line coach. Obviously, Tim Drevno was fired this previous offseason. To Roris, I would say praise. I think everyone lauded that move. Everyone really thought he was the problem with this offense. You know, too many cooks in the kitchen with the play calling. He was in there. You know, he was a part of that. With what I mean, still, we don't have a whole lot of clarity on who's calling plays still. But we took Drevno out of the equation. We don't have him coaching the offensive line. I think many people expected the offensive line to look much improved so far. I mean, it looks pretty much about the same. Not a whole lot of time to pass on any of these plays. There's really no chance to throw the ball downfield because there's simply no time.
Well, another aspect of that, too, the offense was kept off the field almost the entire second quarter. Notre Dame with a nearly 8-minute-long touchdown drive towards the start of the quarter, and then Michigan taking the kickoff all the way to the house, but then Notre Dame right back on the field.
Yeah, and that's true. There really hasn't been a chance to get into much of a flow, but I just haven't seen a significant improvement. Granted, it's the first game. There's things to work out for sure. There's a whole lot of movement on the offensive line. We've got new guys and new spots, but something I expected to see dramatic improvement in. It just seems like more of the same here so far.
And the defense, where Michigan really was expected to hang their hat, nowhere to be found in that first half. Yeah. Your thoughts on that?
Very, very true. That was, something I thought everyone thought we were just going to come back out, have a top five defense. Not saying we still won't this season, but so far it just looks like we have a whole new team out there. I mean, we returned 9 of our 11 starters. Granted, we did lose a huge piece of this defense in Mo Hurst, undisputed All-American talent. He was a pivotal player for us, but you would still think with as much talent as Michigan has, they would be just fine without him. It looks like they're really all around struggling here. It's not necessarily just one unit. The defensive line's not getting a whole lot of pressure on Wimbush. Wimbush is really able to get loose and run wherever he wants to. And then on the second level, the secondary is really just not able to contain these wide receivers for Notre Dame. Granted, they've got big guys. It is tough. It's tough to put corners on an island against wide receivers who are 6'4", but if you think any guys who can do it, it's going to be Lavert Hill and David Long, and they just haven't been able to really impede their Notre Dame's offensive progress this entire game.
Josh Medalis ejected for targeting early on in the game on the opening drive, and then as well, right towards the end of the first half, Devin Bush going down with what looked like some kind of lower leg, maybe ankle injury, needed assistance to get off the field, and he was really one of the few players, Nate, that was in it for Michigan's defense in the first half.
Yeah, definitely. He looked, especially after the ejection of Metellus, he looked like he was out there trying to hurt somebody. He was just laying out some absolutely brutal hits. He was all over the field, and again, that is what we've come to expect from Devin Bush. And his loss, I feel like that's probably the biggest, the last person Michigan's this defense can lose right now. He is really rock solid there in the middle, and we'll see how that changes this game here. I mean, obviously Michigan was able to get a stop there on that final drive of the half. Really a huge stand by this Michigan defense to give Michigan, only an 11-point deficit here at the half.
And we talked as well in the pregame show about how the Michigan defense would line up against the Notre Dame offensive line. And safe to say, I think, Nate, after the first half, that Notre Dame's offensive line really winning that battle, giving Brandon Wimbush all the time that he needs to throw. Yeah,
and it's really a shock to me. I'm just not seeing Rashawn Gary or Chase Winovich really.
You sound quite at a loss.
Yeah, I just don't understand. These are two guys I expect to be playing at an All-American level right now. They could be anyone out there. It's shocking.
Your stat line for the first half, total yardage heavily in favor of the Fighting Irish, 233 yards to Michigan's 90, and a big part of that as well. Time of possession, Notre Dame really coming back into it in the second quarter, 16 minutes, 31 seconds, Michigan with the ball for 13-29. And Michigan, too, all of their first three drives starting in Notre Dame territory and could not finish the drive. Notre Dame on the ground, 148 yards rushing in that half, led by Wimbush himself with 39, and then Jafar Armstrong with 30 yards as well. He's got the two punch-in touchdowns for Notre Dame, and then Wimbush getting in for one as well. Michigan, on the other hand, just 62 yards through the air for Shea Patterson, mostly on those quick out routes. Nate, talk a little bit about that Michigan offensive flow in the first half.
Well, again, that's what I really think, that Michigan's sticking with these dink and dunk plays because they do not have confidence that pass protection will hold up long enough to take a shot downfield. That is something I expected to see worse some throws downfield this game. We know Shea Patterson's, he has all the talent in the world. He's everything you want in a quarterback. And we have just great deep threats. We have Donovan Peoples-Jones, about one of the most athletic receivers in college football. Nico Collins has shown he has the ability to get downfield. And then plus we have Zach Gentry in the middle, about as big as a tight end can be, standing at all of 6'8". We've got the guys to go downfield, make big plays. We just haven't even explored that option so far. It's really frustrating to see, especially it's kind of ironic that Brian Kelly kind of became infamous for running a similar type of offense. Brought in a fresh face, offensive coordinator from Memphis. Now I'm forgetting his name. Well, anyway, to change up, to get something going, this little dink and dunk passing is not what you want to see, and very strange to see Michigan really, persisting and not trying out something new so far.
Well, they did let Shea Patterson have one deep shot, which he overthrew by a country mile back earlier in that first quarter. But that, as you said, not really letting him open up in the pass game. Probably a concern with the offensive line and pass protection. But nonetheless, we'll see how the Wolverines head into the locker room, and that's where we're going to take it now. So if you're on both sides of the ball, whoever is calling plays on offense, whether it be Pep Hamilton, whether it be Jim Harbaugh, and then on the defensive side of the ball for Don Brown, what are your words to your guys in the locker room right now? Well, expletives not included.
As we know, Don Brown is using.
Yes, a lot of that.
Oh, yeah. Well, I would say right now, I have certainly been very doom and gloom here. I am quite rattled by what took place in this first half. All that being said, Michigan's only down by 11 points right now. They're receiving the opening kickoff here in the second half. This is really, you take a deep breath, you look at the scoreboard. really, we should be calm, collected, keep our heads on straight. I feel like I'm putting a lot of, I don't know. I'm just thinking that Michigan really is not in a bad spot right now. Really,
it could be a lot worse heading into the half.
Certainly.
Again, just an 11-point deficit for the Wolverines. That can be made up quickly. So I guess my next question for you, Nate, is if you're Shea Patterson, you've been sitting on the sideline for pretty much all of the second quarter. Now coming back into the game fresh again, how do you try and get that confidence behind yourself to go back into the game and try and complete some passes?
Well, now I'm going to contradict myself. Maybe go out, do some nice and easy, simple stuff, just to get something moving, get the chains moving here. That's really been a problem for Michigan, I feel like, is they're just not like stringing together plays. They really need a long, sustained drive to stay on the field like Notre Dame has done. Notre Dame just keeps marching down the field, eating up time, really getting into a nice flow. Michigan needs to do that themselves here.
And I'd argue a part of that, too, is the flow of the offense, again, with the play call in the first half. It was pretty much either all in on pass or all in on rush. They really didn't mix in their plays very well. And you go back to Michigan down on about the Notre Dame 3-yard line, threatening to score. And the first field goal of the game only comes because Michigan goes into a pass pro out of the shotgun on the 3-yard line with second and goal or third and goal. I mean, the play calling just seemed a little bit lost out there in the first half.
Yeah, and I can understand Michigan really, not having that balance down right away. Of course, Michigan's been really pro-focused in all of their offense, everything under center, big power I formations, really Harbaugh's entire tenure here, and now Shea Patterson's really turned that all upside down. It's going to take some time to figure out how do you balance the shotgun spread, modern offense with really Jim Harbaugh's philosophy so far here at Michigan. But there's really, I don't know what they do here. I would think they come out, maybe try to get some more touches to Chris Evans. I think he got actually 0 touches last year. A guy who was, essentially 1A, 1B with Karan Higdon all of last year. Now it's just been non-existent. I don't know really why that is. You would think if Michigan's spreading it out more, they would feature him a whole lot more. It's really been bizarre in that sense.
Yeah, and adding into the problem for Michigan as well in the first half, penalties, a big bugaboo for the Wolverines. 5 penalties for 42 yards, almost all of those 5 coming at crucial points on either third down or on big gains for the Irish. And Notre Dame just 2 penalties for 20 yards. So a lack of discipline for Michigan, mostly on the defensive side of the ball as well.
Yeah, true. And really just, the roughing the passer there, I thought was, I'm not going to say that was a no-brainer on that one. Maybe the targeting there by Metellus, I'm not going to dispute that at all. But if you know that penalties have been a problem, which they had been to that point, you've got to be more cautious. You've got to be more aware of that. And to see that slip up where Michigan could have possibly gotten a goal line stand there to give up that touchdown, that really changed the entire, way this game looks right now. And I don't know what to really say to that. It's the first game. It's in it's a huge rivalry. They're playing on the road, under the lights. This crowd has been absolutely deafening here tonight. Those kind of things are just going to happen. That's just going to be able to, hopefully they'll work that out in time.
We will see how the second half fares, but I think the story to this point, to kind of sum everything up, Michigan has had several opportunities to get themselves back into this game, to recapture momentum from Notre Dame, and they have failed at just about every single point, with the exception of the kickoff return for Michigan back in the second quarter that brought it back to an 11-point deficit. But again, just not a lot really for us to kind of draw off of there. There's a rough performance. The offense of old, the defense of never in the last several years, and we'll have to see what halftime adjustments can be made. But we're just a few minutes away from the start of the third quarter. We'll go around a few other games that happened today. Maryland, another Big Ten fellow with Michigan, beating Texas for the second year in a row. This time at Maryland, they went down to Texas last year. How about the Terrapins in the midst of a scandal involving head coach DJ Durkin?
Yeah, I would say the biggest shock out of all of that is people were, again, here thinking Texas was back, dare I say it, with new head coach here, Tom Herman. You would really expect as much success as he had with Ohio State, and then with Houston, he was such a highly touted, really hot coaching prospect. Everyone wanted him. He got his pick of jobs going to Texas, one of the most, prestigious programs in all of college football, and, to expect a turnaround right away maybe is a little much. Again, Jim Harbaugh suffered from some of that here as well. But those are the kinds of games Texas really needs to win. Maryland is just not a powerhouse program. They don't have the same caliber of talent that Texas has. That's just a game they need to win.
Michigan will meet Maryland in Ann Arbor on October 6th. We'll go back to a game that happened last night. Michigan State at home in East Lansing against Utah State, and clawing for their life at the end of that game. Nate, your thoughts on the Spartans' performance last night?
Well, again, I don't know what to say on that. It's a Friday night game. Crazy things happen sometimes. Really, I would say the biggest thing out of that is that Michigan State normally comes out beginning of the year playing about as conservatively as possible. Very limited playbook. Really don't want to show off anything. They did show off, though, in that game a little bit of option action, something that Michigan State doesn't normally do. They needed it in that game. It really just befuddled the Utah State defense and helped them secure that victory. But, I'm sure Mark D'Antonio's not very happy that he had to show his hand there the other night.
And Michigan will travel to East Lansing on October 20th. We'll talk about one more game, and that was Penn State, which finished right as this game was about to kick off, also fighting for their life against Appalachian State, a team that Michigan knows well as an upset-minded group. Going all the way to overtime, 45-37, the final score there. Your thoughts?
Well, again, we're watching with bated breath. I thought finally the curse, I don't know if you could call it that, was about to be lifted. The scarlet letter off of Michigan's chest was about to be gone. If another top 10 program were to fall to Appalachian State, unfortunately, they just come down short there. But Appalachian State, I gotta say, looked terrific. Their quarterback made some fantastic plays. They had an excellent wide receiver, just really, that looked unstoppable. That has to be a point of concern for Penn State, though, is their defense just could not stop Appalachian State when they needed a stop there at the end of that game. And we're going to have to see how Penn State figures that out.
Michigan has Penn State at home on November 3rd, and the last Big Ten game that happened today, no need to discuss it, but Ohio State with interim coach Ryan Day beating Oregon State at home in Columbus 77-31. And with that, that'll wrap up the halftime show here. Jeremy Parks, Nate Sorensen. I'm going to give way to second half play-by-play, Evan Oesterle. Before I do that, Nate, will Michigan get back into this game? Answer that as Evan hops on the mic.
You know what? I couldn't have sounded more pessimistic here this entire halftime. But I think Michigan does have a chance here. They could not have played worse, really, in my eyes, and yet they're still only down by 11 points here. We really figured that we know that this Michigan defense is superb. I think they can come out here, put together some stops, and they're just too talented to let this Notre Dame offense put up another 21 points on them, and that's what I want to see. I want to see this defense come back out here and take control of this game.
Thanks, Nate. And I am Evan Oesterle. I'll be with you for the rest of this game alongside Nate Sorensen. Just under 2 minutes to go until the second half kicks off. As Nate and Jeremy have discussed, it was a rough first half for the Wolverines. A lot of 50-50 plays didn't break their way. They trailed 21-10. They will receive the ball first. One of the most pressing issues for the Wolverines is losing potentially 3 starters on defense. Josh Metellus ejected from the game for a targeting penalty early in the first quarter. Devin Bush and David Long both got hurt late in that second quarter and could potentially be out for the rest of the game. There have been no injury updates on them. We probably won't know until the Michigan defense takes the field. How concerned are you about those injuries?
Well, any injuries and the ejection in the secondary there, not too concerned about. We have a lot of depth there. I mean, But personally, Devin Bush, he's just the most important part of this defense in my eyes, and really not certain what this Michigan defense does without him. He is just so important right there in the heart of that defense. I don't know really there's no way to replace him. He's one of a kind, and that's really the biggest loss here for Michigan.
Nate, are you surprised that Chris Evans didn't get any carries in that first half? Karan Higdon, 12 for 45 yards. Donovan Peoples-Jones carried the ball once on an end around, and Shea Patterson took 2 sacks. No carries for Chris Evans.
Yeah, absolutely shocked. I mean, we knew Michigan was going to come out here featuring the spread more heavily. They have done that. It was a change I was excited to see, but I also thought that change would come with more touches for Chris Evans. He's really, more of the receiving type. He thrives in open space, whereas Karan Higdon's more of a run between the tackles type guy. I thought coming out in the spread that would mean more touches for Evans, and it simply hasn't happened. I don't even understand the thought process, to tell you the truth, but
we will see. Michigan will have the ball right away if Chris Evans is more involved offensively. Ambry Thomas back to return. He produced the only Wolverines touchdown of that first half. We'll see if Notre Dame can kick this one in the end zone, keep Thomas from returning. We are kicking off the second half now between Michigan and Notre Dame. Thomas will let it bounce through the end zone, and Michigan will start at the 25. We'll see if the offensive line can give Shea Patterson more time. Most of the success that he had was on short routes, quick plays. He was 9 for 12, but for just 62 yards. How critical is this first drive for Michigan?
I think, I would say it's huge. As bad as the offense looked, they need to come out here and gain some momentum, but we're still only down 11 points. It's not time to panic and try to force big plays here. I just really want to see him get some first downs.
Patterson with just Higdon behind him, and there's a penalty before the play even starts. Not sure if there was a false start. Delay of game off the kickoff. That is just unacceptable for the Michigan coaching staff right there. So a 5-yard penalty. It'll be 1st and 15 from the 20-yard line now, as Michigan was unable to get that play off.
My goodness, talk about really a deflating mistake right there.
Patterson in the same ace formation. Higdon behind him. Takes a snap. Play action. Looking deep right away. Patterson with time. Fires deep. He's got Nico Collins, and Nico Collins makes the catch down at the 28-yard line. Perfect route. If Patterson could have gotten just a bit more air under it, he might have taken it all the way.
And that was absolutely beautiful there. Shea Patterson had all day to throw that ball. He stood up tall in the pocket, couldn't have been cleaner. Really, hats off to the offensive line on that one.
Notre Dame had success bringing pressure the first half. They did not bring pressure there, and Patterson made them pay for it. Nico Collins with a strong start to his sophomore season. Now Patterson with 2 receivers to his right in the backfield. 1 running back to his right. Fakes again, another play action. Patterson looks to the outside, complete to Peoples-Jones down inside the 15-yard line, and Michigan with a strong start to the second half.
Beautiful, beautiful all around, and I love that Michigan's going with the play action here. They're really keeping Notre Dame, off guard. I'm sure they're probably wondering, why has Michigan not ran the ball so often this game? They're probably sitting on it, and now Michigan's playing against them.
Patterson in the shotgun. Fakes to Chris Evans, another play action. Just barely gets the pass away. Was pressured there. Pass intended for Grant Perry. And it looks like the Notre Dame player who was pressuring him is down. It was Khalid Kareem. He had a big sack earlier in the game, and he is down now. It'll be 2nd and 10 for Michigan from the 16-yard line. And Notre Dame had success with those play fake, going back across the field for screens and various ways of getting Brandon Wimbush outside the pocket. But Shea Patterson finally doing some of the same, and it looked pretty good.
Yeah, haven't really seen Shea Patterson, just tuck it and run at all this game so far. I was expecting a little bit more out of that from him. Obviously, he looks very comfortable running around in the backfield. He's got great mobility. Surprising that Michigan hasn't shown that off a little bit more. getting him some more designed run plays.
Update on Kareem. He stepped on Shea's foot as he was pressuring him and twisted his ankle. He's walking off under his own power but limping. Junior Khalid Kareem from Detroit, Michigan. His backup from Walled Lake Central. I'm going to give it my best effort to pronounce this, but Adetokunbo Ojendeji.
Well, the first name, Adetokunbo. Giannis. Just like Giannis.
And so it looks like he'll come into the game. Kareem has been excellent pressuring on that weak side against Shea Patterson. If he can't go, that would be a big loss for the Fighting Irish defense.
Yeah, and their pass rush has certainly been a strong point for them so far today. Again, it's really forced Michigan to really not even consider deep balls. Granted, Michigan just capitalized on a huge one here not 2 plays ago, but again, not something you want to see. Edge rushers are about one of the most important positions in football, and losing a premier one like Khalid Kareem is going to be a huge blow.
How critical is it for Michigan to punch this one into the end zone? The offense has not yet scored a touchdown. They've been in field goal range twice, in the red zone once. This is now the second time.
Well, I think really the biggest thing here is just simply for the confidence that it would give these guys. They really need this just to get something going here. Patterson
alone in the backfield, 5 wide receivers split out. Notre Dame showing pressure. Patterson takes a snap. Notre Dame brings pressure. Pressure immediately. Ball tipped in the air. Incomplete. And that play never had a chance. It looked like they were going for a screen pass looking to the outside. And right into the game, Ojendeji deflects that pass. Good pressure from Notre Dame. It looked like they brought 6 guys, and it will be 3rd and 10 from the 16.
Yeah, not too often you see a screenplay get broken up by a pass rush, but really just a heads-up play there to get the hands up.
Patterson with a running back and 2 receivers to his left, 2 tight ends to his right. He's in the shotgun. Notre Dame showing pressure again. They rush for Patterson with time, throws it, looking in the back of the end zone, over the head of Peoples-Jones, who never had a chance at it. 4th down and 10.
Yeah, Peoples-Jones must have just lost that one in the light. Looked like he didn't even have a clue where that ball was. And again, not a terrible throw, but just pretty good coverage there by the Fighting Irish. There were 2 guys in the vicinity. Really not a whole lot going there for the Wolverines.
It would have been tough for Patterson to even give Peoples-Jones a chance at it. Would have needed a perfect drop-in throw. Nordine will attempt this field goal. It'll be a 33-yarder from the right hash. And the ball snapped. The holder dropped the snap and was taken down at the 27-yard line, So no field goal for the Wolverines.
That is simply just a mistake you can't have. Really awful there. I mean, Michigan finally gets something going on offense, gets a little momentum built up. Really just hats off to the Notre Dame defense for forcing Michigan into the 4th down situation, but you at least have to come away with some points. Right now, to think it could be a 1-possession game would have been huge, really, for as poorly as Michigan's played so far. And now they're facing 11-point deficit that really could have been avoided.
It was Will Hart, the punter, who bobbled the snap. Now Wimbush takes over. Armstrong comes in motion from the slot to the backfield. Wimbush fakes to him. No, Armstrong does have it. He gains about 2 yards. It'll be 2nd down and 7 at the 30-yard line.
Yeah, and good. Another tackle there by a safety there. Michigan secondary has really done a great job of running up to the ball and making tackles.
Notre Dame hurries the line. Wimbush looking deep, throwing deep. Way overthrown, and it's intercepted! It's intercepted by the sideline! And Michigan has a caravan of blockers, but forced out of bounds at the 49-yard line. Wimbush way overshot his target. And Brandon Watson, the senior corner, made the easiest interception he'll ever have.
And there he is, filling in for David Long. Now, players for both sides here making big plays after stepping in for injured starters. Just really excellent job to stay on the hip of the receiver, running alongside him, and really it looked like the ball was intended for Watson. Great hands there to make that one.
It was intended for Chase Claypool, the Notre Dame receiver. He opened the game with the first catch for the Fighting Irish, but a terrible throw from Wimbush, who looked pretty good in the first half. First really big mistake he's made, first turnover this game. Michigan will take over just short of midfield at the 49-yard line. Patterson tosses it. Higdon brought down for a loss of about 5 yards. And it'll be 2nd down and 14 at the 45. Asmar Belial with the tackle. He's been active all day long. Patterson now 2nd down and 14. He's got 3 receivers to his right, a running back to his right, and 1 receiver to his left in the shotgun. Notre Dame not showing pressure. Patterson takes the snap. Gives to Higdon. He gets about a yard back, maybe not even, just got back to the line of scrimmage. It'll be 3rd down and long.
So strange to see Michigan come out here with 2 run plays in a row and with 0 success here. They did so well passing the ball. You'd think they would try that out a little bit more. Strange.
Khalid Kareem back in the game. He made that stop. Shea Patterson now 3rd and 14. Huge play for the Wolverines. Need to get some points, and soon. 3rd down and long here, though. Notre Dame showing pressure. 5 men lined up on the line. Patterson takes a snap. Scrambles outside the pocket. He's got a man. It's Nick Eubanks. Eubanks brought down about 5 yards short of the first down line. It'll be 4th and 5 at the 45. We'll see if Harbaugh wants to go for it here. At the moment, the offense staying on the field. It is 4th down and 4 at the Notre Dame 45-yard line. And it looks like Michigan is going to go for it.
Gutsy call here for Michigan. I really like it. You know, you got to do something. You got to get something going here. You got to get the momentum back. This might be the play to do it.
Here we go. Shea Patterson for the shotgun. He's got 2 receivers to his left. Notre Dame again showing pressure. 5 men on the line. Patterson takes a snap. Looking and intended for Zach Gentry. No flags. There was contact. Michigan is going to turn the ball over on downs at the Notre Dame 45-yard line. Notre Dame will start with good field position once again.
And Gentry really was upset after that one. Got in the face of the referee there, it looked like, after that no call. And to be honest, though, that pass was just simply too high for him to really even make a play on that one. That's, you know, on 4th down, you need perfect execution. That was far from it.
Well defended by Alohi Gilman. One thing I've noticed with Patterson is on the plays when he hasn't been pressured, he's only looked to throw. He's not looked to make any plays with his legs. He's known as somewhat of a dual threat quarterback. That has not been apparent today, besides a couple times where he's rolled out of the pocket. Michigan still hasn't given Chris Evans a carry either. Do you expect at some point either Shea Patterson or Chris Evans to join in on this run game with Karan Higdon?
You know, I really hope so. Really, you can tell how competent that Shea Patterson is with his legs when he gets out of the pocket. When he's running around, he looks very smooth. He looks very comfortable. You would think at some point you would see some green grass in front of him and just decide to tuck it and run just to let the defense know he can do that. But, you know, so far I can't really say why he hasn't. It's such a, you know, essential part of the college game is having a dual threat quarterback. It adds just an entire new dimension to your offense when the defense has to keep that in the back of their mind. And you can see it here with this Notre Dame offense. Wimbush is just absolutely stellar on the ground. He really forces this Michigan defense to respect him, you know, both through the air and on the ground. We really hope to see Michigan try and force that same respect from this Notre Dame defense.
It looks like both Devin Bush and David Long are going to be okay. Devin Bush was dealing with cramps before halftime, was taken to the locker room to get an IV. He is fine and 100% to go for Michigan. David Long, on the other hand, had an eye injury. Doesn't seem like anything major, but Brandon Watson in his place. So David Long not yet back in the game. Notre Dame will take over at the 45-yard line. 11:03 left to go in the third quarter. Michigan has left a lot of points on the field today. Started with Shea Patterson taking a long sack when in field goal range. And then when Michigan had the ball at the 2-yard line, they called a pass play. Patterson was sacked back to the 10, and they were forced to settle for a field goal. And then the bobbled snap by Will Hart on that last field goal attempt. That's a lot of points left on the board for the Wolverines. At some point, they're going to have to start putting the ball in the end zone. Wimbush in the pistol formation as Notre Dame takes over. 2 receivers to his right. Wimbush gives off to Armstrong. Looks like he got back to the line of scrimmage, nothing more.
An excellent job by the Michigan defensive line there. Really collapsed that hole. There was no hole to run through there for Armstrong. Just ran into a mass of bodies.
It'll be 2nd down and 10 now from the 45. Wimbush in the shotgun. Fakes to Armstrong. Pressure immediately. Now he's looking back to Armstrong, and the pass fell way short. Chase Winovich pressured Wimbush on the play. Michigan finally getting some pressure. Rashawn Gary pressured him as well. Rashawn Gary actually got a hit on Wimbush.
Yeah, and both of them ran free. Really was just trying to throw it away there was Wimbush, and if Ross had just turned around there, he would have had a chance at an easy reception there, or interception, I should say. That ball was just thrown very weakly straight up into the air. It was really a lame duck of a throw.
Wimbush the last 2 or 3 drives not throwing the ball quite as pretty as he was early in the game. Now it's 3rd and 10. More pressure from the Wolverines. Wimbush another throw. Incomplete. There was some contact, but I think they're going to rule that one uncatchable. Kevin Austin, the freshman receiver for Notre Dame, was the intended target, but 3 and out for the Fighting Irish, and the punt team will come on.
And now you see why Jim Harbaugh decided to go for 4th down. Go for it on 4th down there on that last offensive possession. He obviously has a lot of trust and confidence in this Michigan defense, and really just an absolutely stellar start for this unit after that really a poor first half.
5th-year senior Tyler Newsome will kick to Donovan Peoples-Jones. Peoples-Jones fielded a punt the last time he was out there. Ended up being tackled at the 2-yard line. Waiting for a fair catch this time, and it'll bounce into the end zone. And Michigan will start at the 20.
And a really savvy play there by Donovan Peoples-Jones, waving for a fair catch and standing at around the 15-yard line. He attracted the attention of about 4 or 5 Fighting Irish players there. Thought he was, trying to kind of stare him down, make him nervous for that catch. Little did they know the ball was sailing, landed at about the 2-yard line, and then skipped into the end zone. If the Fighting Irish were aware, they could have easily downed that one inside the 5-yard line. Really a great play there by DPJ to fool him.
Michigan 149 yards of total offense. Patterson 12-19 through the air for 136, just 13 total rush yards. Sacks have been a big part in driving that number down. Cron Higdon has 14 carries for 41 yards. Patterson gives to Higdon. It looks like he got about 2 yards on the carry. Chris Evans, gets his first carry of the game. Drew Tranquil brought him down, and now we finally see Chris Evans.
And elated to see Chris Evans finally get the ball, but I'm surprised they give it to him on a play that's going in between the tackles there. I'm surprised they're not trying to get it to him out in open space. That is where he is most effective.
Evans' strength is his agility and quickness on the outside. Patterson now with 3 receivers to his right, a trips formation. Takes the snap on 2nd and 8, a quick screen pass to the outside, and a gain of about 6 yards. It'll be 3rd down and 3. Drew Tranquil again brought him down. Donovan Peoples-Jones on the reception. 3rd down and 3 from the 27. Michigan so far today on 3rd downs just 3 for 8. A big one here. Time going down slowly, but at the same time, Michigan is going to need points sooner rather than later. The crowd rising to their feet for this 3rd down. Patterson, 2 receivers to his left. Takes the snap. It's an option play. He got it back, and Evans shifting around, but ends up losing a yard after Patterson pitched it to him. Michigan goes 3 and out once again.
And Evans nearly lost the ball on that pitch, did not handle it cleanly, and then had to change direction there and just absolutely nothing going. And I don't know what more you can do there. Again, I'm surprised they're on a 3rd and short. Michigan last year would have came out in a power I set and tried to just power their way to a first down. You know, I'd like to see Michigan trying to switch things up here, but maybe they're going a little too far in the other direction.
Drew Tranquil, another stop there. He has been a force for the Fighting Irish. He's their captain on defense, a 5th-year senior who turned down the NFL to come back for one more year. Hart gets a deep punt off. Fair caught at the 23-yard line, but there's a flag behind the play.
And it looks like it was thrown by the line judge. It may have been a defensive player lined up in the neutral zone.
And that would be a first down for the Wolverines. No, it looks like it's going to be going against Michigan, and Will Hart may have to re-kick.
Yeah, that offsides there by Michigan.
Illegal formation on Michigan. So Notre Dame will add 5 yards to the kick. They'll get the ball now at their 27-yard line and take over from there.
Well, now for Michigan, a staggering, really staggering stat to me so far. They have 155 total yards. 140 of them have come through the air. That is just absolutely a completely shocking turn here for the Wolverines. They're just absolutely able to get nothing done on the ground, and I would think that some of it has to do with they're simply running the ball out of the shotgun too often. With a quarterback like Shea Patterson, you really want to put him in the shotgun, give him a lot of options, but sometimes you just got to go out there and play some old school football, get a fullback and a few tight ends on the field, and try to do it the old-fashioned way. I'm surprised that's something that Jim Harbaugh's completely gone away from here in this game.
I mentioned at our last break that Devin Bush was 100% ready to go. He has now come out of the locker room, rejoined the team on the field, and it looks like he will be playing the rest of the way pending another injury. Glad to see him back out there. Hopefully he can stay hydrated. It has been a hot day here in South Bend, very humid.
And not a bit of wind either.
Nope. So 8:06 left in this 3rd quarter. After trailing 14-0 early in the game, Michigan now trails by 11. What does Michigan have to do to get back in this game?
Well, I would say their defense has come out here. They've done exactly what I thought they would. They've come out, they've righted the ship. They've really been giving this Notre Dame offense fits, and I thought that was really the key to this all, but it really simply does not matter if this Michigan offense cannot stay on the field. That's really what it comes down to. And this Michigan offense really isn't able to get anything going because they cannot get anything on the ground. They just got to figure out a way to get some rushing yards here. I don't know what they need to do, but what they're doing right now is not working.
Only one turnover for us so far. It was the Brandon Watson interception on Notre Dame's first drive of this half. But we again keep coming back to the story of Michigan leaving points on the board. Notre Dame will take over 1st and 10 at the 28-yard line after the 5-yard penalty for illegal formation by Michigan on that last punt. Wimbush comes out in a spread formation, 2 receivers to each side in the shotgun. He's also got a tight end in front of him to his right. Now brings a man in motion. It's Tony Jones. Wimbush faked it to Jones, kept it, and he's going to end up gaining about a yard. Brad Hawkins brought him down.
Stop by 20, Brad Hawkins.
Pretty clever play there by Wimbush. He's on a fully, there's no doubt that was a run play all the way. After he'd passed the line of scrimmage, he tried a pump fake to fake out the Michigan defender. It didn't work out too well.
Wimbush has frozen Rashawn Gary and Chase Winovich over and over again. Now takes a snap. Pressure from the Wolverines. Wimbush is going to be sacked. It's Devin Bush. He's probably got a lot of pent-up energy after having to sit out a couple drives. Wimbush taken down at the 20-yard line. It's going to be 3rd down and 18.
Man, and came on the blitz there and really just flew by the left guard, Alex Bars, and really just excellent work there by Devin Bush. He's just too agile, just slipped right by him.
Aubrey Solomon checks back into the game for Michigan. 3rd down and long for Wimbush. Takes the snap. Pressure comes. Wimbush escapes. Wimbush to the 35, and he got the first down and more. What a play by Brandon Wimbush. I don't know if it was a design QB draw or if he just saw a hole and took off, but about a 25-yard gain from Wimbush down to the 42-yard line.
And right there, it looked like a design QB run to me. The center, Sam Mustapher, came right up to block Devin Bush and really just got in his way enough that Devin Bush couldn't make that play in time. Ugh.
Wimbush hands off now to Jones, who gets about 3 yards. So Notre Dame gets 22 on 3rd and 18. A really bad moment for this Michigan defense that had a chance to get off the field. Notre Dame back around midfield now. That also affects field position even if Michigan does get the stop. It'll be 2nd and 7 from the Notre Dame 45. Wimbush, 3 receivers to his left in the shotgun. Takes the snap. Gives it off, and a tackle broken. That's Tony Jones again. He's finally brought down by Devin Bush, but he got the first down. Carried it to the 44-yard line. 1st and 10 Notre Dame. Notre Dame still in a hurry-up offense. Wimbush, 2 receivers to his left. The refs unsure of something, not sure what it is, but they're going to stop play. So it'll be 1st and 10 from the Michigan 44 for Notre Dame once we resume. The Notre Dame players aren't sure what's going on. They're resetting the clock to 5:52, no timeout. Looks like just the refs making an error there. Probably beneficial for Michigan to take a breath.
Yeah, you got to think there that this Michigan defense thought they were in the clear after that huge sack by Devin Bush, a 3rd and way long. We're expecting to get off the field soon after that and then give up really just a huge back-breaking play. They really cannot let that, snowball here into a really just a game-changing drive here for the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. Right now they need to come up big on this set of downs.
Again, Notre Dame leads 21-10, 5:52 to go in the 3rd quarter. They have 1st and 10 at the 44-yard line. You are listening to Michigan Student Sports Radio, WCBN. Michigan season opener at South Bend. Wimbush takes the snap, play action. Devin Bush nearly brings down Wimbush, but he spins out of it, and now he's got time. Looks downfield, and he's got his man at the 24-yard line. That one is going to stay with Devin Bush for a while because he had a chance to make that sack. Devin Gill blew the coverage.
Wimbush gets away.
Devin Gill pressured him, was unable to bring Wimbush down. And then Wayfold hauled it in.
Yeah, that's simply just Devin Gill had a clear shot at Wimbush and just couldn't bring him down. You can't have that.
And this time Tony Jones is gobbled up in the backfield. Loss of 4 back to the 29-yard line. So Notre Dame now have 2nd and 14. DeWumford made that stop for the Wolverines.
Now still here, Michigan defense has a chance to make a big stop here. A field goal would be really, they'd be very happy to give that up after this drive.
Right on the edge of field goal range right now, 46-yarder at the moment for Yoon, and now Tony Jones spins forward, gets back 3 of the yards that he lost a play ago.
Jones.
It's going to be 3rd down and 11 from the 26-yard line, and another critical play for the Wolverines. Notre Dame 6 of 10 on 3rd down so far today.
And I believe they were 5 of 7 on 3rd down in the first half.
Wimbush throwing to the end zone, incomplete. Oh, he did make the catch. What a grab right there by Miles Boykin falling down. It looked like the ball hit the ground. Miles Boykin hauled it in. A diving catch for a touchdown, and Notre Dame now leads by 3 scores.
just backbreaking right there for this defense. Two huge plays that were really just blown that led to this that are really going to haunt this Michigan team.
And the touchdown is going to come back. 5-yard penalty on Notre Dame. As we see the replay, Wimbush, what a great throw, what a great catch by Miles Boykin. Was able to haul it in.
Well, his knee might have been out anyway.
Would have been very close upon review where he gained control of the ball, but it's going to be 3rd down and 16 now from the 31. Michigan dodges a bullet there. Notre Dame will have to go for another 3rd down conversion. So 3rd down and 16. The score remains 21-10 for the moment. Wimbush, empty backfield, 5 receivers split out. Wimbush takes a snap. Michigan comes with pressure. Wimbush evades it for a moment, but is finally brought down by Devin Gill. He lost about 2 yards there as Gill made the sack. 4th and 16 from the 33. We'll see if Brian Kelly wants Justin Yoon to attempt this 50-yard field goal.
It looks like they are bringing out the field goal unit.
This will be a long kick for Yoon. The ball's at the 31, and it'll officially be a 48-yard field goal. Ball's on the left hash. Yoon kicking towards the student section. And a good snap, a good hold. Yoon's kick is low, but it is good. Justin Yoon, a 48-yard field goal to put Notre Dame up 24-10. Jim Harbaugh upset about something over on the sideline. Harbaugh thought they didn't get the playoff. He thought it was a delay of game. Not sure that that's reviewable. Either way, a really good kick from Yoon.
Yeah, and that's really just a crucial mistake there by the officials. That ball was not snapped in time by this Notre Dame kicking unit, and really, all in all, this Michigan team has to be thankful Notre Dame only ended up with a field goal on that drive, but, the difference between an 11-point and a 14-point game is huge, especially this late. Really just an unbelievable mistake there. That cannot happen.
Again, Notre Dame leads 24-10, 3:07 left to go in the 3rd quarter. Notre Dame about to kick off. Michigan has not scored a touchdown offensively. The only touchdown came from Ambry Thomas. Wolverines have 155 total yards on the day, 141 through the air, 14 on the ground. Meanwhile, Notre Dame 282 total yards, 167 through the air for Brandon Wimbush, a touchdown and an interception. Wimbush also has 18 carries for 53 yards. Jamar Armstrong has 10 carries for 33 yards, and 2 of Notre Dame's scores. Tony Jones, 7 carries for 32 yards. How crucial is this drive for Michigan? We've said that time and time again, but now as the clock starts to run out in the 3rd quarter, what's the level of urgency for the Wolverines?
And they need a touchdown right here. We're closing in. We're getting very close to this 4th quarter. Still, this Michigan offense has not gotten a touchdown. Really, they really have looked a lot better here in the 2nd half. They just got to find a way to get in the end zone. It's really quite surprising. It's perplexing. You would think, Jim Harbaugh at the helm here, that Michigan would find a way to figure this out, and it really is sad to see.
Ambry Thomas back to return. He took one back to the house earlier, as previously mentioned. He also had another good return to the 35 that got called back for a holding penalty. So Yoon getting ready to kick off. Kick is up and away. Another one through the end zone that Thomas won't have a chance to return. So Michigan will take over from the 25-yard line, trailing by 14 points here. It's the season opener for the Wolverines in South Bend. They'll take on Western Michigan next week at noon. It'll be the home opener. We'll have that call for you, as always, at WCBNsports.org or youtube.com/WCBNsports. Patterson leads this offense back out on the field. He's in a shotgun formation with two receivers to his right. Patterson takes a snap, gives to Higdon. Got about 8 yards on that play. Marked out at the 33-yard line. It'll be 2nd down and 2 for the Wolverines. Eight-yard gain for Higdon, who now has 15 carries for 49 yards on the day. Not a bad day for him. The Michigan total rushing yards number is skewed by some sacks and a fumble on a field goal. Patterson, a quick screen pass outside of Peoples-Jones, who dives forward to the 39. Gain of about 5 for the first down. Brought down by Tavon Coney, the middle linebacker for Notre Dame. Officially a gain of 6. Down to the 39-yard line. It'll be 1st and 10 for the Michigan there.
And that was Donovan Peoples-Jones' 5th reception there. He's leading the team, but still only 33 yards. You know, as I understand wanting to give it to him, dumping it to him short, let him make a play with his athleticism, but at some point you'd think they'd let him stretch down the field.
Patterson under center now. Takes a snap, play action, looking downfield, and he's going to be sacked from no, he escapes the sack. Shea Patterson slides down around the 50, just short of a first down. We've seen Wimbush escape sack after sack. Now Shea Patterson spins out of one finally. He was pressured on the play by Asmar Bilal, but he spun out, and it turns out to be 2nd and 1. First time we've really seen Shea Patterson make a play with his feet. Houston Griffith finally brought him down.
Yeah, and Bilal just sold out completely trying to get the strip sack there and just forgot to make the actual sack.
Patterson under center in a single back, 2 tight end formation. Another play action play. Michigan looking to take a shot downfield. Patterson throws to the sideline. It's intercepted. That one is picked off. Julian Akwara, outside linebacker or defensive end. He floated, covered the tight end, and intercepted that one just outside the sideline. Michigan's first turnover of the day.
And right there, Shea Patterson had to throw that one up. He was pressured on a blitz from Tavon Coney, who just went right by the center Ruiz, who also had help there from, I believe it was Karan Higdon, blocking in the backfield. He simply just went right in between them on the blitz. Progress was barely impeded and got right into Shea Patterson's face, who just had to throw it up before he was sacked.
The pass was intended for Sean McEwen. Notre Dame takes over at the 36-yard line, and Michigan was starting to have a good drive. That's a backbreaker. Wimbush gives off to Armstrong, and he picks up about 5 yards on the play. It'll be 2nd and 5 from the 41. Wimbush, a quick screen pass to the outside. Makes a man miss, and it's going to be just short of the first down at the 45-yard line. It'll be 3rd down in inches.
And it looks like Notre Dame's just going to play it very conservative here and just try to bleed out the clock.
Josh Uche made the stop, and a quick run play. It looks like Notre Dame did get the first down on that. It'll depend on the spot. And the refs are going to wave on the first down of his Jafar Armstrong once again. Just barely got enough for the first down. It'll be 1st and 10 at the Notre Dame 46. Notre Dame now 7 of 12 on 3rd down plays. We are down to 15 seconds in the 3rd quarter. Wimbush takes a snap, gives to Armstrong, and he's brought down for a loss of about 3. It'll be 2nd down and 13, but that is the end of the 3rd quarter. Notre Dame leads 24-10. And there's only 15 minutes left to play in this ballgame. Nate, Michigan has 15 minutes to make up a 14-point differential. What do they have to do, and do you think they can do it?
It simply comes down to the offense. Can they make plays here? Again, the only touchdown has come on special teams here. This team, the offense cannot expect the defense to come through, make a touchdown, the special teams to come out with another touchdown. It's going to have to be this offense. They're simply just making too many mistakes here. They just got to string together some plays here. Again, maybe look for some more deep shots down the field. We need a big play here, and it's just something Michigan not been able to come by too often.
A few fans headed for the exits, but the vast majority staying in their seats. Notre Dame will have second down and 13 from their own 43 when we come back. But it doesn't seem like Michigan has the offense right now to get back into this game. They would need a quick stop and a quick score just to make it interesting down the stretch of this fourth quarter. They've moved the ball relatively well, but drives have stalled for a variety of reasons. Notre Dame 289 yards of total offense, 170 through the air, 119 on the ground. Their excellent offensive line has opened up holes in the middle for them when they need it. Brandon Wimbush has made some excellent plays both with his feet and with his arm. He threw some really good balls early in the game, and he's avoided pressure and extended plays over and over again in the second half to keep Notre Dame out of trouble.
Yeah, and Wimbush really much maligned this entire offseason. Many people thought Ian Book, his backup, was going to take over the starting job this season. He's come out here and proven he deserves to start. He's made some absolutely spectacular throws downfield, has made a bunch of plays. Really against a stellar Michigan defense. They came out flat at the start of this game, but Michigan's, again, showing why they were one of the best defenses in the country last year. Wimbush has just simply had a good game here against them.
If Michigan ends up getting back into this game and losing it close, the points that they've left on the board are going to haunt them for a long, long time. We've talked about the drop snap on a field goal, Shea Patterson taking a snap on a third down play, pushing them out of field goal range, and Shea Patterson taking a snap after taking the ball down to the 2-yard line, pushing them out of touchdown range and forcing them to settle for a field goal. 10 points left on the board so far for the Wolverines. Wimbush on second and 13 takes a snap. Michigan brings pressure. Wimbush with time, throws it, and the pass is broken up by Josh Uche on that play. Miles Boykin appears to be the injured Notre Dame receiver. He was also the intended target of the pass. Good play by Uche, and it'll be third down and 13 at the 43, but we have an injury timeout.
And on that one, Michigan sent a lot of pressure. Pretty much every receiver only had single coverage, and Wimbush, to his credit, he recognized the pressure, got rid of the ball quickly, gave his receiver a chance to make the play there. Uche just made an absolutely perfect play on the ball right there.
Boykin walking off under his own power. It'll be third down and 13 for Notre Dame from their own 43. A critical third down for Michigan. Notre Dame 7 of 12 on the day. Time of possession has been relatively even. 24 minutes, 7 seconds for Notre Dame compared to 20 minutes, 53 seconds for the Wolverines. It's just been what they're doing with that time of possession that really differs, as Notre Dame has 111 more total yards. Wimbush in the pistol formation with two receivers to his right on this third down play. He's just going to hand it off to Tony Jones, who's brought down in the backfield by Chase Winovich. Lost 3 more, back to the 40, and Notre Dame will have to punt.
Big stop there for this defense, and this is what Michigan needed. They're going to end up with Not the best field position, though, after this punt. I would assume it's going to be up to this Michigan offense to make some plays here now.
Peoples-Jones back to return. Tyler Newsome's punt once again. Might have more of a shot to return this one. Newsome gets the punt off. There was some pressure well over Peoples-Jones' head. And this one is going to be down inside the 5-yard line, about the 4.5-yard line. Peoples-Jones never even gave it a thought. Great punt from Newsome. Donovan Peoples-Jones struggles returning punts continue, and Michigan has 96 yards to go just to make this a one-score game now with 14:03 left in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, DPJ pulled out the same trick he used on the last punt where he ran up the field waving his arm. He again fooled this Notre Dame punt unit, but it was just an absolutely stellar punt there. The backspin on it landed on about the 5-yard line, only rolled to the 4. And that's just excellent punting right there.
1st and 10 from the 4. Michigan needs points. Patterson with 3 receivers to his left. Takes the snap, hands off to Higdon. Higdon gets about 1.5 yards, maybe 2 on the play. It'll be 2nd down and 9 from the 5.
And again, Michigan just keeps struggling running the ball. Again, just one of the strongest parts of this Michigan team last year was their ability to run. With as much turmoil as they had on offense, with poor QB play and really no passing attack, they were still able to steadily run the ball.
Patterson in the I formation. It's 2nd down and about 8.5 yards. Patterson gives to Higdon. Higdon makes a man miss. Gets forward to the 16-yard line. It'll be 1st and 10 there.
And there it is. Michigan came out in an I formation, finally able to get something going on the ground.
And now there's a player down for the Wolverines.
I think that's Shea.
It is Shea Patterson. Appears to be frustrated. Dylan McCaffrey standing next to head coach Jim Harbaugh. Many questions about who the backup behind Shea Patterson would be after Shea was finally named the starter. Not Brandon Peters, not Joe Milton, but it's Dylan McCaffrey who's going to take the next snap. Shea Patterson will have to come out for a play regardless of if he can return. It didn't appear to be serious. He went down after the play under his own power.
After the play, he smacked the ground, and it looks like they're massaging his calf. I'd imagine this is just a cramp here.
It likely is just a cramp. Devin Bush went to the locker room late in the first half to receive IV treatment for his cramps. Dylan McCaffrey is going to take his first snap as a Michigan Wolverine, trailing by 14 in the fourth quarter against Notre Dame. Patterson able to walk off under his own power. Likely was just a cramp, but here comes Dylan McCaffrey. We'll see if they ease him into it with another run play with Karan Higdon. I would expect some pressure from this Notre Dame defense here.
Yeah, and really this is absolutely shocking to me. I would have thought Brandon Peters was no doubt the backup for this team. Now the redshirt freshman McCaffrey,
the older brother of Carolina Panthers running back Christian McCaffrey in the I formation. McCaffrey hands off to Higdon. Goes forward for about 3 yards on the play. It'll be 2nd down and 7 from the 19. Patterson coming right back into the game, so all McCaffrey did was hand the ball off once. Shea Patterson going to come back in, 2nd down and 7.
Well, a pretty anticlimactic first snap there for McCaffrey, but again, one thing I'd like to point out from that, really only a 3-yard run, excuse me, but again, it looked like that Michigan offensive line got some good push, made a lot of space for him there. Again, out of the I formation for this team.
Nothing to criticize McCaffrey for, just a simple handoff. Patterson back into the game, play action. Throws off his back foot to Sean McEwen, who is hit hard on the play by Jalen Elliott. No gain on the play. Actually, he got about a yard, so it'll be 3rd down and 5 from the 21.
And Patterson collapsed as he threw the ball. There was no pressure on him. He simply just fell and popped right back up and now is limping off the field, and it's McCaffrey coming back in.
So Patterson cramping up. It's going to be Dylan McCaffrey now on 3rd and 5. Very high likelihood that he is going to have to throw his first career pass as a Michigan Wolverine. This crowd is on their feet. Critical moment for the Wolverines. Clock now under 12 minutes. 11:45, 3rd down and 5 for Michigan, trailing by 14. McCaffrey sends a man in motion, takes a snap, rolls to his right, fires to the outside, complete for the first down. Grant Perry made the catch. got it to the 28-yard line, and McCaffrey 1 for 1 for 8 yards now.
And beautiful route there by Perry. Got plenty of separation there against the linebacker, and McCaffrey put it right on the numbers where it needed to be. Really nice and easy pitch and catch right there.
Patterson receiving treatment on the bench. It's going to be McCaffrey likely for the rest of this drive, possibly for the rest of the game. Now in the I formation, McCaffrey hands it off to Higdon. Not much of a hold there. He got about 2 yards to the 30. It'll be 2nd down and 8.
So would rather see a 2-yard gain than a 0-yard gain, which seems like all Michigan was getting running out of the shotgun earlier this game.
Clock now under 11 minutes to go. 2nd and 8 from the 30. McCaffrey now in a single back formation. He's got 3 receivers to his right. Nico Collins split out to his left. McCaffrey play action, looking downfield. He's going to roll. McCaffrey goes forward for about 2 or 3 yards. It's going to be 3rd down and 6 at the 32-yard line.
And the offensive line did give him time to throw. There's simply just no one open downfield. Had to tuck it and run, and really there's nothing going.
Good coverage on the play. G. Tranquil and Tevon Coney brought him down. It'll be 3rd down and 6 from the 32. Clock ticking down to 10 minutes left in this 4th quarter. McCaffrey now with 3 receivers to his left, 1 tight end, and a running back to his right. 3rd and 6. McCaffrey takes the snap. Fighting Irish bring pressure. McCaffrey makes the pass complete. I don't know if he got the first down, though. It looks like Peoples-Jones is going to be about a yard short. Michigan has to go for this now. Under 10 minutes to go. It'll be 4th and 1 from the Notre Dame 37. Michigan looks like there's a timeout from the officials. They're going to review the spot, I think.
Please reset the clock. 9 minutes and 42 seconds. Moving on the field, the run was short of the line of the game. Plays like reviewed.
The only way that he would have gotten the first down is if he originally caught the ball past the marker, because when he went out of bounds, he definitely did not have the first down. A little out route to Donovan Peoples-Jones. Another good throw from McCaffrey. Michigan is going to go for this regardless, but they are reviewing the spot.
And I would say it was pretty clearly not a first down here. Pretty fortunate for the Wolverines that they're reviewing this. Give them some time to get their breath, figure out what play they're going to be running here on 4th down.
My colleague Jeremy Parks is telling me he thinks it was caught beyond the line. My other colleague Alex Drain, a little iffy. Daniel Thompson thinks he was beyond the line.
So consensus says this is going to be a first down Wolverines. They better be right.
What they're showing on the big board is where he went out of bounds. Looking at the TV broadcast, it looks like he was across the line when he caught the ball. I believe it'll be a first down, actually. Had to get to the 38-yard line. It looked like he was well past that when he caught the ball and then was pushed back after making the catch by Troy Pride Jr., junior corner. They are reviewing it. 9:42 on the clock. Crucial call coming from the referees.
It looks like he's got the headset on still. Not quite. It's taken quite a while here for this.
It's a tough call to make because you have to determine when the receiver had possession and when forward momentum was stopped. If Peoples-Jones made a football move after going back, then you could judge that his forward momentum was not stopped. It looks like he definitely hauled in the pass at the 38-yard line.
Back for review.
Here we go.
Made the line again. Calling the first down.
They ruled that he did make the line again. It's going to be a first down at the 38-yard line for Michigan. Still life here for the Wolverines. 9:42 to go. 1st and 10 from the Michigan 38. Excuse me.
And again, you said it before, but you got to give big props there to Dylan McCaffrey making the throw right there. Again, Donovan Peoples-Jones made a terrific route, got separation, he put the ball right on the money where it needed to be to get that first down. Excellent quarterback and wide receiver play.
Clock starts running again. McCaffrey's 2 for 2 for 11 yards. He also has a carry for 3 yards. He'll take this snap from the shotgun, fake the handoff, and then he runs forward for about 5 yards to the 43. It'll be second down and 5. They're using McCaffrey more as a runner than they did with Shea Patterson, which is interesting. McCaffrey, labeled by recruiting services as a pro-style quarterback, definitely very athletic.
Quite spindly, though, too. Not the type of guy you want taking a lot of hits.
McCaffrey now on 2nd and 5 from the 43. Another play action. McCaffrey got a receiver to the outside. It's Grant Perry for another first down to the Notre Dame 47-yard line. Michigan moving the ball. 9:03 left to go in this fourth quarter. There's an injured Notre Dame player behind the play. It's Khalid Kareem again. He was cramping up earlier. So now we've had Devin Bush and Shea Patterson for the Wolverines deal with cramps. Khalid Kareem for Notre Dame. The hot, very humid weather certainly a factor in dehydrating these players throughout the game. But while they attend to Kareem, what do you think of Dylan McCaffrey so far? He's 3 for 3 for 21 yards. He also has 2 carries for 8 yards.
Yeah, and I would say right away, something I think is very startling was that just how his threat to run has made a difference here. When on that last fake where he then kept the ball, ran for only 4-yard, modest gains there, but no one on that Notre Dame defense thought he was keeping the ball. Everyone crashed to the running back right there because that's what they've been doing this entire game previously. I feel like that has been something that was hurting this offense, was that Shea Patterson was not really getting any respect from this defense as a threat to run, and now Dylan McCaffrey is kind of making them second guess that.
Michigan will have 1st and 10 from the Notre Dame 47 with 9:03 to go, still trailing 24-10. Khalid Kareem walked off under his own power once again. The Notre Dame student section getting loud. Here we go. This is the game on the line. This drive right here, Nate. Michigan needs to come up with points here. Otherwise, they're just simply not going to have enough time to make this comeback. McCaffrey brings the offense out. He's got 3 receivers to his right. He's under center. It is as loud as it has been all day in here. The refs slowing things down, looking like they're trying to get on the same page. Everybody on their feet here in South Bend. The refs still holding things up. This crowd is not getting any quieter though. It's going to be 1st and 10 from the 47. Dylan McCaffrey is coming to this game with full confidence. And it is just getting louder and louder in here. Here we go, 1st and 10. McCaffrey in the center. Brings a man in motion. Double play fake. McCaffrey throwing down the sideline and just over the extended arms of Sean McEwen. It'll be 2nd down and 10. A good throw from McCaffrey, just a little bit high. Didn't have much of a window.
Yeah, but I like to see the aggressiveness trying to push it downfield here by this Michigan offense. They really do not have all the time in the world here. They got to start making some moves.
2nd and 10 from the 47. McCaffrey has 3 receivers to his left. He takes the snap. A quick screen pass outside. That's Oliver Martin. Makes one man miss, but only gets a yard. It's going to be 3rd down and 9. You would assume it's 4-down territory for the Wolverines at this point with where they are on the field.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. Michigan cannot afford to do anything but score a touchdown on this drive. Again, I don't know though if you got to be aiming for the sticks here though. You can't expect to get it on 4th down, especially just with as loud as this crowd is right now. As much energy as Notre Dame's defense has, you've got to go for the 1st down now.
Crowd loud once again. McCaffrey, nobody in the backfield. He's got 5 receivers split out on 3rd down and 10. Takes a snap, looking. He is brought down. He scrambles forward for about 2 or 3 yards. It's going to be 4th down and 7 from the 44. Michigan will almost certainly go for it. Under 8 minutes of game time left now.
And there looked like Dalen Hayes there with the initial pressure.
Followed by Jerry Tillery. It's 4th down and 7. Ball on the 44-yard line. This game is on the line. Here we go. Dylan McCaffrey. 2 receivers to his left, 2 receivers to his right. Karan Higdon next to him in the backfield. Now Higdon's going to go out wide. 5 receivers spread out, 4th down and 7. Maybe the last chance for McCaffrey and the Wolverines. McCaffrey takes the snap. Notre Dame brings pressure. McCaffrey scrambles to the outside, looking downfield, fires it. It's going to be well short, incomplete. Karan Higdon is furious that there was no call. He felt that he was held. It's going to be a turnover on downs for the Wolverines. Notre Dame will take over at the 44-yard line, and Michigan is running out of life.
Yeah, and to say Karan Higdon was irate after that would be an understatement. Absolutely furious there, and may have had a point. The ball was well underthrown. Maybe they were the referees were considering that one just uncatchable. That's why they didn't give the defensive pass interference call. But now Jim Harbaugh has given the nearest referee to him an earful.
Dante Vaughn grabbed his shoulder. I think the pass probably was uncatchable, but Higdon thought he had a shot at it. This Michigan defense will come back out. They do not look very energized right now. It's going to be 1st and 10 from the 44-yard line for Notre Dame. Michigan needs a very quick stop if they're going to get back in this game. Shea Patterson is still receiving treatment for his cramps on the sideline. It looks like it's going to be Dylan McCaffrey for the rest of this way if Michigan even gets another shot to get back in this game.
Yeah, and so far, based on that drive alone, really doesn't seem to be a huge difference. Again, really, Shea Patterson, the only thing he has done so far in this game to set himself apart from McCaffrey was the long throw to start off this half, but again, nothing really came of it. I don't know really which quarterback you go with right now, assuming full health.
The halftime score was 21-10. It's 24-10 now. Not much scoring from either side in the second half. Michigan needs a turnover or some big play on special teams to get them back in this game because there's just not enough time for the offense to have 2 full drives at this point. Only 7:14 on the clock. Notre Dame at the moment is in full control of this game. They have the ball. They've run the ball well today. A total of 39 carries for 115 yards. Brandon Wimbush has 53 total yards. Armstrong has 33, and Jones has 32. You would expect a heavy dose of run here for the Fighting Irish, and this stadium is still just about full. I mentioned a few people heading for the exits at the start of the 4th, a few more now, but as hard as it's been for Michigan and as tough as it seems right now, this game is not yet over if they can get a quick stop. They'd have to play almost perfectly from here on out, but it's not quite over yet. Wimbush will lead this Notre Dame offense back out. A couple first downs would probably be enough to ice this game for the Fighting Irish.
Yeah, and it's interesting to see what Notre Dame will do here, how they balance, the aggressiveness, because as you say, getting a first down here would really be a killer for Michigan, but do you risk, going in through the air, getting an incomplete pass, stopping the clock, or an interception here? It's hard to say.
Wimbush gives off on the first play to Tony Jones. Got about 9 yards on the play. No, he got 10. He got the first down to the 46.
Well, if they're going to break off runs like that going right up the middle, I guess it doesn't matter.
Wimbush has 223 yards of total offense. Michigan as a team has 230. Wimbush has 2 receivers to his left in the shotgun. He's icing this clock down now.
Yeah, and if Notre Dame, I would imagine Notre Dame will come out running here again. They really need to milk this clock.
Wimbush, 5 seconds on the play clock. He snaps it with 3. He faked it to Jones, gets to the outside. He's going to be hit out of bounds. Going to lose about 2 yards on the play. It'll be 2nd down and 12, depending on where they say his forward men was. It'll be 2nd and 11 from the 46. Chase Winovich chasing the edge where Tyree Cannell forced him out.
And really, that was the best of both worlds there for Michigan, forcing him out of bounds, stopping the clock. Really a boneheaded play there by Wimbush. I'm surprised he didn't just slide down before he reached the sideline there.
So once the ball is set, the clock continues to run until we're under 2 minutes, even on out-of-bounds plays.
Oh, well.
Michigan showing pressure. Wimbush handed it off for a gain of about 4 yards there. That was Tony Jones again. It'll be 3rd and 7 from the 42. Notre Dame 7 of 13 today on 3rd downs. If Michigan has any shot in this game, they need to get this stop here. If you're Notre Dame, do you just run the ball anyways, take the time off the clock, and force Michigan to do something on offense?
And probably considering that last punt there by, I believe, Newsome there, if you can pin Michigan within the 5-yard line here, I'd say you just go, you'd be happy with that.
Wimbush takes a snap. Received pressure, nearly intercepted on the play by David Long, but it fell to the ground incomplete. So 5:16 left. Notre Dame will punt from the Michigan 43. They'll try to pin Michigan deep once again. Peoples-Jones headed back to return. Newsome's last punt was excellent. It looks like Dylan McCaffrey is getting ready to lead this team back out on the sidelines. Shea Patterson nowhere to be seen as the offense gets ready to go back out. Newsome standing at his own 43 will send this one back to Peoples-Jones. Michigan brought pressure. Another good punt from Newsome, but this one's going to go well into the end zone. Too much leg there. Didn't want to risk anything, just punted it through the back of the end zone. Michigan will take over at the 20 with 5:07 to go. It will be Dylan McCaffrey, and it will be this Michigan football team's last chance to get some points on the board and make this a close finish late.
And there you go. The Michigan defense did their job the best they could. Still, that 2 minutes coming off the clock really hurts this, Michigan offense's chances here. I'm not sure if 5 minutes is enough time to get 2 touchdowns here, especially considering how much Michigan has struggled here. They're going to need a big play if they want it, if they have really any chance of winning this one.
The Wolverines still have all 3 timeouts, but just 230 total yards today. The only touchdown came from Ambry Thomas on a kick return late in the second quarter. Michigan will take over from their own 20 at the right hash mark. Dylan McCaffrey, 5:07 left to score 2 touchdowns just to extend this game and send it to overtime for Michigan right now. Notre Dame in full control. Just have to play conservatively, defensively, try to force McCaffrey into an error, or just let the clock run out at this point. Does Michigan have any hope left, Nate?
Again, it comes down to if they can get a big play downfield, but Notre Dame knows that. I would expect that they're going to be, just kind of sitting back, letting Michigan just kind of dink and dunk their way downfield, which is really all they've tried to do for the most part here. It's going to have to be a long pass downfield. I don't know if Dylan McCaffrey's got that in him. I don't know if these Michigan wide receivers really have it in them either. They really have been bottled up pretty well here so far in this game. Really, there have been some chances for them. Michigan's tried to get, balls to receivers quickly on little screens, letting them get out in space, make plays, and really just haven't had anything going.
Notre Dame will face Ball State next weekend, followed by Vanderbilt. 3 home games to start the season before going to Wake Forest. Then they finally get some tough games with Stanford at home, followed by Virginia Tech on the road. Their biggest games remaining on the schedule, Stanford, Virginia Tech. They play at Northwestern November 3rd and host Florida State November 10th. One of the easier Notre Dame schedules we've seen in recent years. Michigan hosts Western Michigan next weekend. McCaffrey now takes a snap, 1st and 10. Just barely gets the throw off, and there's going to be a pass interference flag. It was probably uncatchable. But Zach Gentry literally got tackled on the outside by Drew Tranquil, the Notre Dame captain and outside linebacker. McCaffrey threw it as he got hit. Probably uncatchable. No reason for Tranquil to make that play, but it's going to be pass interference, a 15-yard penalty, and automatic first down. So instead of 2nd and 10 at the 20, fifth-year senior Drew Tranquil sets up 1st and 10 from the 35 for Michigan. A free play right there.
And really surprising, they did call that pass interference and not holding. Really, there was not a chance that Gentry was going to be able to make that catch. I don't know how the referees decided on pass interference there over holding.
Notre Dame's 4th penalty. And if the ball was tipped in, there cannot be a pass interference penalty. So Notre Dame will call a timeout, which is effectively a challenge in college football. I don't think the ball was tipped. I think that he just threw it as he was getting hit. We'll see on the replay.
Yeah, and it was a wounded duck, but yeah, his arm was hit. The ball was clearly never tipped.
He just threw it as he was hit. It fell harmlessly to the ground, but I think this is going to stand. Michigan should have 1st and 10 at the 35.
Yeah, and his arm was hit near the elbow. Really, there was no hand anywhere near that ball. There's no way that one was tipped.
A very quick review here. Regardless, the call stands. The ball was not tipped. Boneheaded play by Drew Tranquil. Though Notre Dame does not have any more challenges for the rest of the game. They have 2 timeouts remaining. Since we're getting down late in this game, it's worth noting that Michigan still does have all 3 of their timeouts. So 1st and 10 from the 35. McCaffrey in the shotgun. This Notre Dame crowd getting loud again. He's got 3 receivers to his left. McCaffrey gives his cadence, takes a snap, drops back to throw. Pressure comes. McCaffrey flips it out to Chris Evans. Evans gets a block. Evans now cuts upfield. Chris Evans across the 45 to around the 48-yard line. It'll be 1st and 10 for Michigan there. And there's another Notre Dame player down behind the play. It looks like it's Jerry Tillery, the defensive tackle. There have been several players dealing with cramps today. Could be another one here. He doesn't seem to be in a lot of pain, but very well could be another cramp.
Yeah, and again, it looks like they're massaging the calf there. It's got to be cramps.
So 4:52 to go. Michigan has the ball at their own 48-yard line. It'll be 1st and 10 from there. Dylan McCaffrey has come into this game. He's completed 4 of 6 passes for 22 yards. Also carried the ball 3 times for 10 yards. Shea Patterson remains injured. Shea Patterson coming back into this game in the middle of the drive. So just as I'm talking about McCaffrey's solid numbers, Shea Patterson checks back into the game after receiving treatment for cramps of his own. Oh, excuse me. Shea Patterson was in on the last play.
And, yeah, right there, big chunk play. That's what Michigan needed. Now they're really cooking.
So Patterson came in after the review, it seems. Completed that little dump off to Chris Evans, who took the ball 20 for 12 yards. Now Patterson, 1st and 10. Drops back, looking to go deep. He's going to scramble. And he dumps it to Evans again. Evans down inside the 30-yard line. So Shea Patterson finding Chris Evans twice. There's 4 minutes and 30 seconds left. So Shea Patterson left the game with cramps. Dylan McCaffrey came in, completed some passes. Looked all right. Now Patterson comes back in. Makes 2 good plays. Michigan in business on this drive. And this game far from over. Patterson will take the snap from the 29-yard line, the 29-yard line of Notre Dame. It's 1st and 10. He's got 3 receivers to his left. Patterson.
Time's ticking away here for the Michigan offense.
Takes the snap with 4 minutes left. He again escapes the pocket, makes one-man miss, but gets just 3 yards. Down to 3:55 now. Michigan does need to move quickly. It'll be 2nd and 7 from the 26-yard line.
It looks like Patterson had Chris Evans for another dump down there. He was wide open in the flat to the left side, just could not get him the ball.
Patterson never looked. So the clock ticks down now. It's going to be under 3.5 minutes by the time Patterson gets this snap off. He's got Evans in the backfield with him. He's got 4 receivers split out, 2 to each side.
Bizarre choice for Michigan to huddle up on that play. They've got to hurry up here.
2nd and 7 from the 26. Clock under 3.5 minutes. Patterson takes a snap. Looking with time. Patterson still has time. And finally throws it incomplete. 3:16 to go. It's going to be 3rd down and 7 from the 26.
And now, Michigan still really is taking up too much time on this drive. I really cannot understand the decision to huddle up on that last play. They really are not making or using this time effectively.
3rd down and 8 yards to go. Patterson with 2 receivers to his left, 1 to his right in the shotgun. 3:16 to go. Michigan's last chance. Patterson takes a snap. Pressure comes. Escapes the pocket. Trying to send his man across the field. He does have a man inside down to the 5-yard line. I believe that's Oliver Martin. Michigan still hanging on to dear life. 3:07 to go. It's going to be 1st and goal from the 5. Michigan hurrying down there. And Patterson trying to get everybody lined up.
And as the play broke down there, Martin was just sitting on the sideline. Patterson directed him kind of like a point guard, telling the guy on the wing to take a back cut there and found him. Excellent play.
Clock ticks down to 2:50. Patterson finally gets the snap off. It's a run play for Karan Higdon. Michigan needs to go quickly. He got about 1 yard. It'll be 2nd and goal from the 3-yard line. Clock down to 2:40. Michigan still does have all 3 timeouts. If they can punch this in, they do still have a chance to get the ball back and tie this game. But Michigan letting precious seconds tick off the clock. Down under 2 minutes and 30 seconds now. It's 2nd and goal from the 3-yard line. Patterson still in the shotgun. Down to 2 minutes and 20 seconds now. Patterson takes the snap. Gives to Higdon. It's a touchdown for Michigan. 2:18 to go. And this game's still not over. We'll see if Michigan elects to go for the onside kick. But 2:18 to go. Michigan finally gets their offensive touchdown with just 2:18 left in the game. It's Karan Higdon. A 3-yard carry into the end zone. Quinn Nordine to attempt the extra point.
Big drive there by Michigan, and really what got him there was that excellent play there by Shea Patterson.
Nordine's extra point is up and good. So now here's the question, Nate. Do you go for the onside kick if you're the Wolverines, or do you kick this ball off?
You know, personally, as good as this Michigan defense has been this half, they've only allowed 3 points. They've really stifled this Notre Dame offense. You have all 3 timeouts. I think you try to play, the position on the field here. It's too risky. If you go for the onside kick, Notre Dame recovers it, and then whatever, they get a three and out. They're possibly pinning you within your own 5-yard line here again. And without any timeouts, that would be a death sentence for this Michigan team.
A single first down would ice this game for Notre Dame. Michigan trails 24-17 with just 2:18 to go. They finally punched it in with an offensive touchdown. And after a long and frustrating game offensively, finally Michigan gets some points. It's going to be up to the defense now to get a quick drain out. Michigan has all 3 timeouts. In theory, could get the ball back with around 1:45 if they use all those timeouts and got a 3 and out, which would be plenty of time in theory for Shea Patterson to get this team down the field. But again, I said it before that previous Notre Dame drive, Michigan would have to play pretty much a perfect game to have a chance. They've done part 1 of 3. They got a touchdown. They need to get another stop and then get another touchdown. They only have 2 minutes and 18 seconds.
And it should be noted on that drive there, they did get that touchdown in 2 minutes and 50 seconds. That, not bad. That's pretty good. But of course, they're going to have less time than that for this next drive. And
7 plays, 80 yards in 2 minutes 49 seconds, as you said, and they'll likely have less than that. They will for sure have less than that much time on the clock. They likely won't have any timeouts if they get the ball back at all. But what did you see from Shea Patterson in the offense on that drive that was different than the rest of the game?
Well, just the fact that Shea Patterson was getting out in space after the play had broken down and then making just really excellent decisions. Again, didn't really do anything groundbreaking. A couple dump-offs to Chris Evans, but that's really what he needed to do. He needed to make the smart play, and he got the job done. also, I can't say enough about that play where he directed Oliver Martin to cut across the middle there, pointed him where to go to find the open space. Really just making all the right decisions here. It's really nice to see that out of a Michigan quarterback.
Notre Dame is ready for the onside kick. They have one man back standing around the 10-yard line. Everybody else up close getting ready for an onside. This could be a potential situation where you pooch kick it, maybe down that left side. It doesn't look like they're in an onside formation, but you never know. And Michigan will send it deep. Kind of pop it up. Fair catch taken, so Notre Dame will have the ball at the 25. Michigan has to stop them on the next 3 plays. If Notre Dame gets a first down, this game, for all intents and purposes, is over.
And yeah, I'm very curious to see what Notre Dame does here. Do they risk passing the ball? Again, they've been quite effective on the ground here. I don't know if, you know, they just maybe put the ball in the hand of Wimbush, give him the option of anyone wide open, he can just tuck and run, which he's very capable of doing. And if Notre Dame just comes out and runs 3 designed runs, I don't think they have any chance of getting a first down on this defense.
The running back is going to be Jafar Armstrong. Very likely that he touches the ball either on a play action or a designed run for him. Wimbush has 2 receivers, 2 tight ends to his left. Wimbush takes a snap, hands to Armstrong. Armstrong goes forward for a gain of about 2 yards. It'll be 2nd down and 8. Immediately timeout called by the Wolverines. 2:12 to go.
Well, all right, that's what we expected here, a run. And again, good job by this Michigan defense to stifle it quickly. Right here out of this timeout, I don't know. I would expect to see the same thing out of Notre Dame here again, just a simple run. But again, is the temptation to maybe throw in a play action and catch Michigan off guard too much for Brian Kelly and this Notre Dame team to resist? It's probably too risky to consider right now when the game is completely in Notre Dame's hands, but be an interesting decision to see.
Michigan's best shot would be to strip the ball and force a turnover, give their offense a short field, but you know that Jafar Armstrong and Tony Jones and Brandon Wimbush, Notre Dame's primary ball carriers, will all be taking excellent care of the ball here. It'll be 2nd down and 8 from the 27. Notre Dame trying to ice this game. Wimbush brings a man in motion, fakes to him. Wimbush goes forward, got about another 2 yards, and timeout immediately called again. It's going to be 3rd down and 6 from the 29. 2:06 to go. Michigan down to 1 timeout. Game on the line on this play.
This is it. This is the game right here. If Michigan doesn't get the stop, it's over. I don't know what more to say here. It's intense. This is it. This is what football's all about right here. Big plays when you know the defense needs to make a stop. Can they come up with it? It's a lot of pressure. I would not want to be on that Michigan defensive unit right now.
This is Don Brown's 3rd year on Jim Harbaugh's coaching staff. He's put together excellent defenses each of the last 2 seasons. The defense has struggled today, giving up 302 total yards, 132 of those on the ground. Very uncharacteristic of a strong run defense for Don Brown. It's 3rd and 6 here for Notre Dame. They bring some receivers out. Would you pass if you're Notre Dame here?
I don't know. I think it's too risky. Maybe if you're expecting Wimbush to just tuck and run.
Wimbush takes a snap, tucks and does run. He's going to be brought down short of the marker. Michigan might just get the ball back. It's going to be 4th down and 2 from the 33. Final timeout called by the Wolverines with 2 minutes to go.
And now it looks like another player is down. Looks like that was
Winovich
I think it was Devin Gill is now laying down on the ground.
It appears that Devin Gill, no, it's Tyree Cannell is the injured player. Brian Kelly is screaming about something on the sideline, but it's going to be 4th and 2. Michigan will get the ball back with 2 minutes to go. Shea Patterson's got his helmet on. He's all good to go.
Well, I'd be worried if Brian Kelly wasn't screaming on the sideline about something, honestly.
Both Harbaugh and Kelly, known for some of their sideline antics, can be intense with their players, intense with the referees, intense with their assistant coaches, but that's what this game is all about. Two coaches who have received quite a bit of criticism. Brian Kelly put together a heck of a game plan tonight, but Jim Harbaugh has kept his team in it until the very end, and they're going to have a chance to tie this game with a 2-minute drive in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, very interested to see how Donovan Peoples-Jones plays this year. The last few punts for Notre Dame have been way back deep, where he's really had to calculate whether or not catching the ball is the best move. Right now, he's definitely going to have a chance to return this. Whether or not he does, or if he just simply, waves his arm, takes the fair catch, I don't know. I feel like
this is not the time for him to mess up. He has to make the correct decision here. Like I said, with about 5 minutes left, Michigan needed to play perfectly to have a chance. They've done that so far. It needs to continue with Peoples-Jones here. Newsome will get ready to punt it away. There's 2 minutes on the clock. It's 4th and 2 from the Notre Dame 33. Michigan's going to come after this punt. Takes a snap. They do not bring pressure. Newsome gets a high punt up in the air. Peoples-Jones going to field it. Makes it a miss. Peoples-Jones to the outside. Peoples-Jones out of bounds at the 25-yard line. So a minute 48 to go. Michigan has 75 yards to go to the end zone to tie this game and potentially send it to overtime.
And again, it took them almost 3 minutes to get 80 yards that last drive. Now they have no timeouts. They're going to have the clock stopping every time they go out of bounds and for every move of the chains. But
there is not a person in South Bend on their feet. This crowd going crazy. 1:48 to go. Patterson first and 10 from the 25. Two receivers on each side of him. He's got Chris Evans in the backfield. Patterson takes a snap, fakes to Evans. Quick throw. Got it to Perry. He's down in bounds. The clock's going to keep going. A gain of 4 yards. It's going to be 2nd down and 6 from the 29. Not ideal. Perry needed to get out of bounds there. The clock's going to kick under a minute 30. Patterson doing his best to get everybody lined up. Down to a minute 30. Clock still ticking. Patterson, 71 yards to the end zone from here. Patterson takes a snap, drops back. Notre Dame not bringing pressure. Patterson with time, rolls out of the pocket. He's got a man downfield. That's going to be a 1st down and more down at the 44-yard line. That's Grant Perry. Michigan hurrying up. They're down at the 45. They have 55 yards still to go to the end zone. There's a minute 14 to go. The clock ticking down now. It's going to be under a minute after this play. Patterson, 3 receivers to his left. Patterson takes a snap, looking downfield, and the pass is dropped. Probably not even a bad thing because Zach Gentry would have been brought down inbounds with the clock running, so now we can take a breath. 55 yards to go, 57 seconds, and 2nd down and 10. A decent start to the drive.
Yeah, and again, they've been looking towards the sideline. That's exactly what they need. And again, I like that they're going with like intermediate throws here. Not just dunking it down short, not trying to bite off more than they can chew going deep. Just going nice and steady down the field.
Have to get first downs or have to get out of bounds every time. It's 2nd and 10 from the Michigan 45. Patterson takes a snap. Notre Dame does bring pressure this time. But here comes Patterson, steps up. He lost the football. Notre Dame recovers. Going back the other way. That's going to be the ball game out of bounds at the Michigan 28. Shea Patterson lost the football, and that is it. Notre Dame will just have to take a knee here. Elation for the Notre Dame fans, devastation for Shea Patterson. Michigan will fall to 1-0.
And now the ball, when it came out, was going forward. It definitely wasn't a throw. Could they finally...
Yeah, I think that's a clear fumble there. The fumble was recovered by Notre Dame's Kevon Coney. Notre Dame will just have to take 2 knees. They're going to win this one. The Michigan fans are headed for the exits. They are going to review if it was a forward pass. I do not think it was. His arm wasn't coming forward. It looked like he just lost the ball.
I don't know, though. The ball is going forward.
The ball
maybe you can make some
forward.
kind of case that it's like It's the same motion someone would make if they're making a shovel pass.
The review confirmed the call on the field. Notre Dame is going to win this football game. It's 24-17 with 46 seconds left. All Notre Dame has to do now is take a knee. They'll have to take 2 knees. But a devastating finish for this Michigan team. Shea Patterson got the ball back. Got 25 yards. About 20 yards of offense actually, and then fumbled the ball on 2nd and 10 from the 45. Wimbush takes the first knee. The Michigan players shaking hands. A well-played game, and Michigan offense finally showed life towards the end. I guess that's one positive we can take to next week, but this one hurt.
Yeah, and you got to think how different this game would be if Michigan had come out looking like they did in the second half for this entire game. It seems like that happens too often to this Michigan team. They just come out at the start of the game looking flat, give up a quick 14 points to this Notre Dame team. That pretty much sealed their fate from the beginning.
So Wimbush takes the final knee. Final score, Notre Dame 24, Michigan 17. That's just about it for us here from South Bend. Michigan will host Western Michigan from the Big House next week at noon. We'll have that for you at WCBNsports.org or YouTube.com/WCBNsports. For Nate Sorensen, Jeremy Parks, Alex Drain, and Daniel Thompson, it was a heck of a day here in South Bend. Not the result that Michigan wanted, but they showed some signs of life. We'll see what they can take out of this game, how they adapt. The season is not yet over. They still have 11 games left, all of Big Ten play. We'll see how Michigan develops, but that's all for tonight. Good night, and go Blue.